Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to today's NASCAR Xfinity Series live commentary coverage of the Pacific Office Automation 147 at the Portland International Raceway. We're road course racing for the second time on this young Xfinity Series season here in 2023. It is our second live commentary stream of the day, just coming off the heels of the NASCAR Truck Series race in the Midwest at Gateway, and now we are here for the second race of the day, again, road course racing at Portland for the Xfinity Series. A lot of you guys probably tuning into this stream or watching earlier today. Appreciate it. Anybody returning or new, be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get into our second race this afternoon. We'll go through the starting lineup as they've already given the command to fire engines for today's race. I've postponed the start of our stream about 10 minutes because when I ended the last stream, I literally only had 2 minutes to try to get it up and ready. And I had to get a snack and get something to eat here real quick. So we are here. We'll go through the starting lineup. Sheldon Creed earlier this morning qualified on the pole, so he will be starting out in front. Cole Custer will be starting second as he is on the outside of the front row, both looking for the first wins of the season. Josh Berry and John Hunter Nemechek will be in row 2. Nemechek is already in the win column this year. Berry is not, although JRM just got their first win last week. As mentioned with that win, Justin Allgaier, who won that race at Charlotte a week ago, will be on the inside of row 3. And Jordan Taylor in that 10 car that EJ Allmendinger won at COTA this season. He'll be interesting to watch for Colleague Racing today. It's his first career Xfinity start, and he starts on the outside of row 3. Row number 4 will be Chandler Smith and Austin Hill, each locked into the playoffs with at least one win. Myatt Snyder will be driving the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing this weekend, making his first start in that car this year on the inside of row 5. And Daniel Hemrick, also for Colleague Racing, to his outside. Connor Mosack in the 24 car will be on the inside of row 6 with Riley Herbst above him. Jeb Burton and Parker Kligerman will be in row number 7. Kligerman won on a standalone truck race in Mid-Ohio last year on a road course. What about a standalone Xfinity race this year at Portland? We'll see what he can do. Alex LeBay and Sammy Smith will be in row 8. Anthony Alfredo Casgralla in row 9. Look out for Gralla, great road course racer. May have a shot at a top 10 in that 26 car this afternoon. Brett Moffitt and Jeremy Clements will be in row number 10. Leland Honeyman and Dylan Lupton in row 11. Row 12 will be Parker Retzlaff and Ryan Sieg. Preston Pardis and Brennan Poole in row 13. Blaine Perkins, Josh Williams, row 14. Patrick Emmerly, Kyle Sieg in row 15. Jeffrey Earnhardt and Parker Chase will be in row 16. Row 17 is Joe Graff Jr. and Mason Maggio. And then rounding out, 18th row in the field will be Garrett Smithley and Sam Mayer. And then Brandon Jones and Stephen Parsons will round out the 38 car field today. 12-turn road course, 1.97 miles is the length of the racetrack. Each stage today will be 25 laps. No live pit stops with this being a standalone Xfinity Series race, so they will pit during the end of the stages, but you cannot lose positions on pit road, and you can make some massive adjustments in that couple-minute period leading up to it. Beautiful day, Portland, Oregon. Similar as far as what Gateway looked like with barely any clouds in the sky. Sunny afternoon. Maybe not quite as warm, but beautiful day nonetheless. A lot better than the rain and torrential downpour that they had during the race last season. Turn 1's going to be interesting. Got that little chicane in turns 1 and 2 right out of the gate after a very long straightaway after passing the start-finish line. While we're waiting on everything to get started, we'll go through the Xfinity Series point standings coming into this race today and see what that's looking like. Through the first 12 races, John Hunter Nemechek leads the standings. 2 wins on the season for John, 10 top 10 finishes and 7 top 5s in those 12 races. He's led more laps than any other driver this year with 454, and also has more stage wins than anybody this season, at least tied for the most stage wins with Justin Allgaier at 4 apiece. He has just a 10-point lead over Austin Hill. I think going into last week he was 1 point behind Hill, so an 11-point swing for him there. Justin Allgaier is third in points, 50 points back after winning at Charlotte last week. And then Cole Custer's minus 74. Custer's the highest driver in the point standings without a win this Xfinity Series season. He's 108 points to the good above the cut line. 97 points above is Josh Berry. Chandler Smith locked in with a win, so is Sammy Smith. Sheldon Creed's plus 56 starting on the pole today. Riley Herbst is 9th in the standings overall, plus 42. Then Daniel Hemrick is 10th in points. He is plus 34. On the bubble, Sam Mayer, plus 20. He is the last driver above the cutoff line right now. Jeb Burton with a win at Talladega is already locked in. Brandon Jones comes in the first driver below the cutoff line on his JRM teammate, again, minus 20. And then Parker Kligerman, minus 40 coming into the race today. I think he's got a good shot to try to make up quite a few points with his road course prowess in the lower series. Quick shout outs here before the drop of the green flag as well. Big Dog, Joanne Cryer, Patty Rundy Creations, Tyler Burbeck, Belize Bambino, Billy Kramer, and others. Welcome into the stream. I think Corey LaJoy gets a top 10 tomorrow driving the 9. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Top 10 would be a great run for him. I don't expect it. I probably expect him more to run 15th to 20th, to be completely honest. I'm not sure how practice and qualifying went for him today. Unless they have that coming up still, I really don't know. Well, we're racing as a rip across the start-finish line. Green flag is in the air, and we're underway at Portland. Sheldon Creed, pretty good launch there off the start, is going to try to pull clear of John Hunter Nemechek through the first 2 turns. And already have our first spin in the first corner. One car up over the curb trying to miss. It was the 25. And Chandler Smith in the 16 is the first driver to get turned off the start of the race today. Some drivers that were trying to miss the wreck that cut the chicane, and they had to serve a little penalty there, trying to make their way through. Into the S's, Creed has about a 3-car length lead over John Hunter Nemechek in second. And the 10 of Jordan Taylor was able to pick up a couple spots on the start from 6th to now going for 3rd underneath Josh Berry, and he's clear. Very tight, narrow road course. Very similar to that of Mid-Ohio, where the Xfinity Series ran for a long time. Up until just last season, then the Truck Series made their way there. Very quick opening lap around a very short road course. Again, 12 turns, but just under 2 miles. Creed leads the opening lap of the race. John Hunter Nemechek charges harder in the braking zone down into turn 1, trying to close in on Creed. And Jordan Taylor gets a much better drive off of turn 2. Sammy Smith making an unscheduled pit stop on lap 2.
Already on pit road with issues. Looks like maybe a right front flat.
Good news for Sammy Smith. He won earlier this season at Phoenix, so he's locked into the playoffs. The rookie from Iowa, only 18 years old, just graduated high school.
No, this isn't the start for the day he wanted.
Yeah.
Hey, they're going inside the car. It almost looked like the right front was low, but got to guess that's got to be some type of a battery or ignition problem with that crew member going inside. Sometimes they run the radio on the right side, and I wouldn't have fitted for a radio. I can tell you that. I would have stayed out until a caution came. I agree.
He's a driver. We talked about it during the qualifying show.
So there you have it. On pit road, Sammy Smith on lap 2. And they do have a crew member that was going into the cockpit of the race car trying to figure something out there for Sammy. It looked like there wasn't even much contact that sent the 16 around. It almost looked like he just came in too hot when he clipped the curb on the right-hand side of turn 1. Smith ended up getting around. Actually, no, never mind. He did get hit from behind. It was the 24 car that got into him. So Connor Mosack in the 24 gets into Chandler Smith, turning him on the right-hand side of turn 1. And Chandler Smith, by the time he was able to get going back in the right direction, fell all the way back to 31st place after starting inside the top 10. Creed has led the first 2 laps, has a quick half-second lead over John Hunter Nemechek. Cole Custer trying to work his way through the field as well, outside the top 10. He's battling Leland Honeyman for 17th in the 43. Very difficult to pass on road courses, but even more difficult on not just a newer track, but again, a very, very narrow racetrack. Most road courses, obviously, one primary groove you want to run. So it's difficult when running side by side, really, in any corner. Craig gonna lead lap 3 at the line. He hasn't opened up a big gap over Nemechek, and Jordan Taylor is right there for the taking as well. If one of those top 2 in front of him make a mistake. Sammy Smith now working his way off of pit road, but I believe he is going to be a lap down. Maybe 2, actually. Yeah, 2 laps down. Just hoping to make it to the end of the stage without anybody else going a lap down, and it looks like a pit road penalty for Sammy as well. Too fast entering pit road, so not only had an issue, and it looks like the 35 will go around in turn 1. More contact made in that first turn is going to send him around, and that would be Parker Chase driving that car today. Chandler Smith making another pass back for position. Quite a bit of crinklage on that right rear corner panel of Smith's race car from the contact from Mosak on that opening lap. Decent half-second increments between the top 3, but then there's about a 1.2 second gap between Taylor in 3rd and Barry in 4th. 3 wide down around Parker Chase, and actually Chandler Smith in the 16 was right there. He was the car on the bottom of that 3 wide battle going into the corner, at which Chase got spun around on. They were all battling for about 29th place on the racetrack at the time. Creed keeping that track position at the front of the field. Once again, 25 laps in each stage today, and there are no live pit stops, with this being a standalone event for the Xfinity Series. See this for all the truck and Xfinity races that are standalone events. In fact, we already did have a Truck Series race that was a standalone event at Texas earlier this season, so for anybody that watched that race, or maybe any of the standalone events for any of the lower series in recent years, you would know exactly how those pit stops work. Teams will have about 5 minutes to try to make adjustments to the race cars, and you cannot lose positions on pit road. You can't lose or gain positions on pit road. Field will be frozen at the stage ends. 5 laps in the books for Creed as he leads across the line that last time. He was about a 10th quicker than John Hunter Nemechek, extended that lead out by about half a second that time, but for the most part, those two running very similar lap times. Jordan Taylor fell off just a little bit. He was 4/10 off of Creed's lap that last time by. We haven't seen the 10 car for Kaulig Racing perform very well this season, at least when you consider the fact that they've had a ton of Cup Series regulars running in that car this year. Austin Dillon has made some starts. Justin Haley just ran last year. Kyle Busch has ran in that race car. But only AJ Allmendinger, back on the first road course race of the year at COTA, was able to compete for a win and actually get the job done going to victory lane. So it'll be interesting to see what Jordan Taylor could do today. They didn't show it on camera, but I saw it behind that Josh Berry in 4th locked up those rear tires getting into turn 3. Allgaier almost made the pass on him. Surprised he didn't, honestly. I thought Berry was going way wide, but luckily was able to keep the car on the racetrack. Definitely lost time from Taylor, but is still in contention there, trying to hang on to his positioning for as long as he can, but Allgaier is definitely putting a lot of pressure on his teammate. And Allgaier now looking to the inside onto the main straightaway, just can't quite slip up out of the throttle. Berry going out of the draft now, and he's going to actually let the 7 go. So Josh Berry going to let his teammate go down into turn 1. Quick surrender there from Josh, knowing Allgaier's faster, and maybe Josh is struggling trying to get a feel for the racetrack.
relationship, or that wouldn't have happened.
And he tried to keep behind him for a whole lap there, Jamie. I saw in turn 4 of the last corner, he had the right front locked up with Justin pushing up.
Yeah.
So it was about time.
Allgaier, last weekend, we talked about in the opener, that long winless streak. Not just himself, but Junior Motorsports. JRM, 15 wins a season ago. We've gone winless the first 11 races this year. But Allgaier got it done, locked himself into the playoffs. Looks good here today. Meanwhile, great qualifying run for Cole Custer, drops to the rear, but he is making his way to the front and doing it fast, Jamie.
Yes, for Cole Custer, he had to make that move to the rear after changing the right front tire following qualifying. They thought about maybe just switching it with the left rear, but they just decided that it was too far gone to do that. But he said he was just going to have to keep his head down. He did do the ARCA race here last night. He ended up finishing second in that race. So he had lots of good experience, lots of dry track time, having never been here before. So he had some good knowledge about the racetrack to go off of. But he was just looking forward to making these moves. And now one of the biggest movers so far.
There you have it. Custer second in the ARCA race last night, getting the extra seat time with his first start at the racetrack this weekend, and is battling the 26 car of Kaz Grala for 13th on the racetrack, and he'll make the pass through turn 2. Set him up in 1, made the pass in turn 2, and Cole Custer well on his way to having a solid run after having to start at the rear of the field, as you heard, changed that right rear tire after qualifying, so sent to the back as a result. And Cole Custer, one of the faster cars on the racetrack right now here in the early going. At last lap, Custer ran a 76.696. That was the second. Make that the third fastest lap on track, only behind Nemechek and Allgaier. So Custer's definitely got some speed in that 00. And he is a pretty solid road course racer in some of these lower series. And remember, he has a truck win back at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park a handful of years ago, back in his time in that series. And Jordan Taylor is starting to lose the 2 cars in front of him as we get deeper into this opening green flag stint of the race. Chandler Smith, after his spin on the opening lap, has not really gone much of anywhere. And he is still well outside the top 20. Wonder how much aerodynamically his right rear might be failing just a bit on him. Sheldon Creed working his way through the S's around the horseshoe. The track seems to have a lot of speed for as many tight and narrow turns that there are around this place. These cars are holding a lot of grip on a sunny, slick day. Full screen commercial break right now on FS1 as we are just over 10 laps complete out of 75 in today's Pacific Office Automation 147. Creed has led all laps so far from the pole and currently holds a 0.6 of a second lead over John Hunter Nemechek in second. Jordan Taylor's in third place, 2.6 seconds off the lead. Justin Allgaier is in fourth, Josh Berry in fifth, Austin Hill in 6th, Myatt Snyder 7th, Daniel Hemrick in 8th, Connor Mosack 9th, and Riley Herbst is 10th. Jeff Burton in 11th, 12th place is Alex LeBay, Cole Custer 13th, Kaz Grala 14th, and Brett Moffitt is 15th. 16th is Parker Kligerman, Anthony Alfredo in 17th, Dylan Lupton 18th, Leland Honeyman 19th, Parker Retzlaff is 20th. Sam Mayer in 21st, Ryan Sieg 22nd, Jeremy Clements 23rd, Brandon Jones 24th, and Brendan Pools 25th. Blaine Perkins in 26th, Josh Williams 27th, Preston Partis 28th, Kyle Sieg 29th, and Patrick Emmerling is in 30th. Jeffrey Earnhardt 31st, Joe Graff Jr. 32nd, Chandler Jones in 33rd, Stephen Parsons is 34th, 35th is Garrett Smith, Parker Chase is 35th, Garrett Smithley 36th, Mason Maggio 37th, and Sammy Smith still one lap down after having that unscheduled pit stop all the way back on lap 1, and then followed by the pit road speeding penalty where he had to come back down and make a little drive-through penalty there, also losing some extra time on racetrack. Again, be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We are up to 32 likes on the stream. Our goal is 100 in our second race today for the live commentary coverage. Again, today's race at Portland, a standalone event for the Xfinity Series, while the Truck and the Cup Series at Gateway in St. Louis this weekend. Our Cup Series coverage will begin at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow afternoon. We'll take a quick break here and wait for them to come back from the commercial break on FS1. Hopefully you guys are enjoying our early coverage in our second race this afternoon thus far. Any plans to go to Portland in the future? I don't think so, not unless the Cup Series goes there, which I doubt will ever happen. No, logistically, it's too far to go for a standalone Truck or Xfinity race, personally. Standalone events are more kind of for like locals in the area. The only reason I went to standalone Truck or Xfinity races before was because it was in my home state of Ohio with the trucks at Eldora and Mid-Ohio for the Xfinity and the Truck Series the last few years also. Riley Herbst getting by Connor Mosack before smoking the tires into turn 1. Somebody else behind him also did. I think that was Cole Custer, who has got to be burning his tires off the race car with how many cars he has already passed, as Custer's now battling Mosack for 10th on track. Looks to the inside, and how about Cole Custer in the first 12 laps? He maybe won the beat here today with the way things have gone for him so far. Good run for Cole Custer. Another 10th quicker was Creed than Nemechek that last lap. John Hunter not quite able to keep up with Creed, and I'm kind of curious to know exactly what corner Creed is seemingly better at least to this point. Doesn't really look like there's many seating areas around this racetrack, or at least that people are sitting in various seating areas around Portland. The grandstands are packed on the front stretch, though, I will say, which is great to see when you have a standalone event like this, because I don't think it was really the case when I went to Mid-Ohio for the Xfinity or the truck race. The last couple of years didn't look like there was that many people there, especially being at the IndyCar race at Mid-Ohio last year where it was jam-packed. There were a bunch of people every turn you went. It wasn't really the case for the truck race last year, which was literally ran just the weekend after. And that was on a Saturday versus the IndyCar race is on a Sunday. I believe Mosack just lost another position. He's kind of fading backwards as his run moves on. Alex LePage just passed him. LePage, a very good road racer, may have a shot at a top 10 in that 91 car for Mario Gosling today. And then also Jeff Burton passed him on this lap for 11th. Damage on the left side of the 39 car of Ryan Sieg. Showing a replay of him making contact. Donut on the driver's side door, and it looked like the contact maybe came from the 43 of Ellis. Couple laps in. And went for a spin with Ellis as well. That was in turn 3 where he had spun. Cooked it too deep into the corner. Both cars ended up into the grass. Still rolling, and we still stay green. Again, that happened a few laps ago. A lot of track position lost for Ryan Sieg. He's now back at 28th. And Leland Honeyman, my bad, is in the 43. Not Ryan Ellis this weekend. Honeyman just in front of him at 27th now. They're right in front of Jeremy Clements, and Clements is in 21st. So that battle was for, I would assume, 20th place, and ended up losing about 9 spots or so, give or take. Creed another 2/10 quicker that last lap. Has definitely been the quickest car on track in the early going. It looks to be tough to beat this afternoon. We'll see during that first stage break, though, what adjustments can be made for other drivers to try to get to Creed in the running order. Again, right now your top 5, Sheldon Creed has a 1.1 second lead over John Hunter Nemechek at second. Justin Allgaier's 4 seconds off the lead already in third. Jordan Taylor's now back to 4th place at 6.6 seconds off the lead. And Josh Berry has fit 7 seconds back of race leader Sheldon Creed. Parker Kligerman digging hard. But had 2 wheels on the grass trying to catch up to the 25 car of Brett Moffitt. As they battle for 14th place, Kligerman's lost a couple spots from the start, maybe not showing quite as much speed in that 48 car compared to what he had in the 75 when he won at Mid-Ohio in the truck race last season. He was definitely one of the top 2 trucks that day. Same with Ben Rhodes, went toe-to-toe pretty much the whole race. Now up to 14th place is Kligerman after making a pass on Moffitt. Trying to get away from him and try to catch up to the next driver ahead of him, which is Mosak, who has been fading over this long run to start the race. So I'd not be surprised if Kligerman is able to get another spot there. It's like Kligerman just working his way into the faster area of the racetrack right as Sheldon Creed's working his way onto the main straightaway following turn 12. About a third of a lap behind the race leader already after 16 laps, and again, he is only in 15th. It's going to be interesting to see if Creed catches any lap cars before the end of the stage, which if he does, that is going to be very difficult for Sammy Smith to get back in this race. Sammy really hoping we get a caution before the end of this stage. We had 9 cautions in last year's Xfinity race at Portland, but again, there was a lot of rain, which caused more incidences. Usually on road courses, because there aren't any local cautions in NASCAR racing on road courses, that they tend to not throw the caution flag for spins unless there's any debris stuck on the racetrack or that cars are stalled out anywhere on the racetrack or just off the racing surface. So that is really the only time we end up seeing cautions on road courses in NASCAR. Sure, as we get later in the race, maybe on restarts, we already saw a spin in turn 1 on the opening lap, and then shortly thereafter, a couple laps into the race, we saw another one. We've seen probably 3 or 4 spins already, just with contact made throughout the pack, and drivers overdriving and trying to make a pass and causing that spin and making a mistake. Gotta figure these NASCAR, especially in the Xfinity and the Truck Series still, cars are just not made for road course racing. They have a lot less downforce than a lot of the open wheel, really any open wheel or other road course racing motorsport. So there's a lot less grip to be had, a lot heavier vehicles on top of it, and really is a finesse game. And maybe a slightly slower rated speed. Jordan Taylor continues to fade. He was able to keep up for about 7 or 8 laps with the top 2, and then after that he ended up falling off of it quite a bit. And now he's being hounded by Josh Berry. The 6 car, Brennan Poole, having an issue as he was off in the grass. It looked like he actually nosed the outside wall, which is right off of turn 20. He's going to be able to make his way back onto the racing surface and cut to pit road, so no caution. We do stay green after Poole ended up head-on into the outside wall, and he is immediately pulling his car to the garage. There isn't severe damage on that race car, so he may be able to continue on, but obviously something went wrong there for Poole. And that JD Motorsports number 6 car, again, in the garage following the spin in turn 20. Sorry, turn 12. There isn't 20 turns. I was thinking Dakota for a second. Final corner. Turn 12. That's where that incident took place. 7 laps to go in this first stage. Cascarella definitely not able to get back to the gas as soon as that car in front of him that he's trying to battle with for position, which would be Sam Mayer in the 16th place position, the number 1 car. Full screen commercial break right now on FS1. And I appreciate everybody that is tuning in so far this afternoon. Sheldon Creed is your race leader by 0.7 of a second over John Hunter Nemechek, who is in 2nd place. Again, Justin Allgaier is 4.4 seconds off the lead in 3rd. Josh Berry is in 4th, 8.2 seconds off the lead. And Jordan Taylor rounds out the top 5 in 5th at 8.7 seconds off the lead. As we are on lap 17, I'll make that lap 18 of 75 today. Stuck in the catch fence. Thanks for tuning in. Thoughts on the truck race today? Pretty good. Hate to see the two best cars probably at the end of the race take each other out. Mainly, it was on Majeski. Zane Smith wasn't at fault by any means. Probably wasn't the best choice of words there, but yeah, I mean, Majeski, I thought, had the fastest truck when he had the clean air today. Slightly faster than Grant Enfinger. When he was stuck in traffic, Enfinger was probably a little bit better in traffic, but he was dealing with it most of the race versus Majeski wasn't really dealing with it until that final stage. And I think that's why Enfinger was able to put himself in better position. Plus, he had a pit road, situation where he didn't pit during the stage break when Majeski and a lot of other trucks did, so he got the track position to lead a bunch of laps in that final stage. And Zane Smith, great call on the pit strategy to keep them out in front. They had a truck that could have contended maybe to lead more laps on the same strategy as the leaders, but he was in the lead. The tires weren't falling off much. I don't think I would blame that 38 team at all for the strategy call because they were still in that situation. Yeah, just definitely tough seeing those guys both wreck going for the win. But Majeski just overdrove it. And we've kind of seen that out of Ty Majeski, I've noticed in the Truck Series the last few years. I think it was Nashville last year. They were battling for like 4th or 5th place on a late race restart, and he dove 4 wide into the corner very, very late and took out the 3 trucks to his outside. And then he ended up kind of driving on. And just overdrove it here. He had fresher tires. He was on the inside. Even if he couldn't make the pass that corner, if he could have stayed underneath him, I think he would have completed the pass after a lap or two. But he was trying to go for it right there and then, one corner, it just was a big mistake. We are under caution for the first time in today's Xfinity Series race. The 07 car of Stephen Parsons has stalled out on the racetrack. We have a pace truck trying to push it back onto pit road. So this will bunch the field back up late in the stage, which is going to be interesting to see who pits when pit road opens this time by, who stays out, knowing the stage end is coming up very shortly. We should get a late stage restart, though, of probably a couple laps to actually set that top 10 running order and get their points.
Position, that is huge for driver 18.
Yeah, I think to be able to get that back by the start of stage 2 is a big deal because it gives him a lot more time to make up that ground.
Let's go down to Jamie.
I'm going to go to one of the drivers here, the number 24 of Connor Mozak, and we saw that damage on the left front of that car, and when he comes by pit lane, the crew is unable to see the damage. They don't know what it is that they need to be ready to fix once they do make it down to pit lane, and so the team took a little bit of a different approach. The crew chief, Chris Bowen, was showing photos to the team using the laptop down on pit lane so that they know what the damage is, and then they can get ready for it once we get to the end of the stage.
I'm going to say that when he saw that picture, he was like, oh man, I was like, that's way worse than what, because that's going to be hard to fix with the bare bond or the tape that they're going to put on it. They're not allowed to put any panels on. They can only use tape and the pieces that are actually there on the car. So the good news for them is that they're going to have the 3 minutes to fix this under the brake, but there's not much material for them to work with.
So we got word, no free pass here. So everything I sold about Maggio and Sammy Smith. And
that was a really good story, too.
Well,
a lot of work.
I think what happened is Stephen Parsons, in the cycle of his problem, had gone a lap down, would have been in the free pass position because he's the driver that brought out the caution. NASCAR does not award the free pass to the next driver in line. But here's the deal.
He's still in position, though.
Sammy Smith can race Maggio here and be the first one lap down. Right?
And that's going to be his goal. They're gonna tell him that, like, this is who you have to get by. So that's the only car that he'll be racing right here.
The other person that was happy to see that caution besides our free pass contenders was Sheldon Creed.
Yes.
He was getting hounded by John Hunter Nemechek. He closed a second gap within 2 laps. He closed it up. I don't know if he was saving, if Sheldon Creed's getting loose, but this is right before the caution. John Hunter almost gets by Sheldon Creed. A good battle through turn 4, and right now the caution's about to fly. So Sheldon Creed was very happy.
Yeah, and because we're going to have stage points here on this next restart, I expect that it won't be quite as friendly as it was on the initial start.
I was going to say, the good news is the caution came out. He keeps the lead. The bad news is he's got to deal with him on a restart, and we could get another quick caution here depending on how things go for all these drivers. I would guess we will see some aggression here down into turn 1.
You know, we didn't get a chance to talk about it because we came to the green so almost unexpectedly fast. But the start was a little bit better with them restarting towards the back. Interesting to see if it works out the same way this time, with everybody being ready and knowing that there's some stage points on the line.
Well, you know NASCAR drivers, they're going to figure out how to take advantage of any situation,
that.
just like the timing and scoring line for qualifying. So, you know, these lane choices here, again, are going to be so important because if your lane doesn't roll, you could literally lose 3-4 positions before you're allowed to pull out a line.
Let's give some love, though, to Sheldon Creed because he's led 20 laps today. And this is the third straight road course race that Creed has led at least 16 laps. And I don't know that I've always thought of him as a great road racer, even though, I mean, he did it in the truck series, right? But when he came over on the Xfinity side, I didn't know this was going to be a place that he could take advantage as much as he has. He delivers every time.
Sheldon has great car control, and I got to race against him some in the truck series, and he's just able to find that limit. He also raced a lot of off-road trucks, stadium super trucks, things that maybe aren't exactly the same, but they're road racing, and you learn how to just manage that speed.
I'm just amazed as you look at all three series who the good road racers are. Like if you look at Larson or Reddick, like you just would never pick them as with a dirt background that they're going to be good at road racing, but it just seems like some guys are able to pick this up and able to capitalize on it quicker than others.
Gonna do the choose here. First time we've seen this at Portland.
Which lane would you take, Jamie? Where are you going on this restart?
I personally would rather be on the inside getting down into turn 1 just because I feel like if you're on the outside, that gives you that opportunity for the guy to knock you out. And there's such a penalty if you don't make the chicane, especially on the start if you're so far to the right because of where those A-frame towers are. So I think I would take the inside.
As we get ready for the restart, we remind you tomorrow on FS1 for the second time ever, the NASCAR Cup Series heads to St. Louis. Joey Logano looks to defend last year's win against a hungry pack of the Heartland. Coverage begins 2 Eastern time on FS1. We're green at 3:30. And on the pole, Kyle Busch got it done earlier today. Oh my goodness, look at this. Daniel Hemrick in the 11.
Yeah, that almost looks like there was a fuel leak or an oil leak within the engine bay to have flames like that. It looks like it's coming out of the carburetor, like the air box.
Hemrick out of the car. Thankful for that. The AMR safety team will roll out there. He came in only 34 points above the cut line, and I know we've got a long way to go, but today's race does signify the halfway point in the regular season.
It'd have been a great sponsor plug if he'd got one of those water bottles out and started putting the fire out with it. Well,
you know, for Hemrick, this is an opportunity race for him. And you think about his history on road courses, 6th earlier this year at Coda, and he was 6th in the race right here at Portland a season ago.
Big fire.
It's our Monster Energy
Hemrick's
onboard camera. Watch up ahead of Riley Herbst.
yeah, I mean, he obviously doesn't feel anything being wrong there. You see him swerving back and forth trying to get the tires warmed up, and I'm going to say that the smoke got inside the car and he's trying to figure out, where's this coming from? Man, that's so frustrating under caution to have something like that happen.
And it catches you off guard. You're rolling around, coming up to the choose. You don't expect something. And to be honest, I haven't really seen many fires come through the airbox. We'll see brake buildup or brake dust on the wheels during a pit stop, but not out of the airbox like this. Very, very wild looking.
Chris Rice on the pit box. Never forget the image of him celebrating last year with Allmendinger when AJ won here after all the adversity he faced. And this is going to be an extended cleanup. We were coming back to the green. It was going to be 4 to go. And so we'll see where we are as far as ending stage 1 here. We'll step aside. Sheldon Creed, John Hunter Nemechek up front.
So going to a full screen commercial break on FS1. They'll be coming to 3 laps to go in the stage this time by. We were about to go green with 4 laps to go in stage 1, but then Daniel Hemrick's car had caught fire out of the airbox. He had to evacuate the race cars. He was able to do so safely down the, I think it was the chute going towards turn 10, and ended up having to postpone. They're going to have to tow his car back to pit road. They're probably going to end up putting some speedy dry down wherever the fire took place as well in that trail on that long straightaway in between turns 9 and 10. And I don't know that we are going to get another restart in here before the end of the stage, which will be interesting. Sheldon Creed has led every lap so far in today's race, although I think it counted Nemechek leading the last lap because he probably was ahead of Creed at the start-finish line, even though Creed obviously was the leader when the caution flag came out. So we may not get another restart in here before the end of the stage. And if we do, it's only going to be a lap or two following the fire from Daniel Hemrick. Mason Eldred, thanks for tuning into the stream. Chris Davis, welcome back in. Matt Hunter, thanks for tuning into race 2 as well. Got 40 likes. 40 likes on the stream so far. Our goal is 100 for this Xfinity race, just like it was for the truck race. We got up to 103 right at the end of that truck race stream earlier today, so let's see if we can do that twice in one day. That'd be great. That's 200 likes worth during these streams, so it's pretty cool. Coming off of a week where last week we set our record this season for the most watched stream during a live commentary race with the Indy 500. Ended up with over 15,000 views on that stream and just over 866 people watching, I do believe was the round number for concurrent viewers during that stream. So I appreciate everybody that, again, tuned in last week, tunes in on a weekly basis for these live commentary streams, and hopefully we can top that number into the summer months, especially with a lot of races being off of local affiliated channels and back onto some cable channels here in the middle portion of the year. Just like today's Xfinity race. I know the Cup race the next 2 weeks will be on FS1. I don't think they'll be on Big Fox for Sonoma. I think they're definitely on FS1 tomorrow. But I think they're on FS1 for the Sonoma race also. Then NBC takes over for the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series the rest of the season. NBC and USA Network the rest of the year. Troy McDonald, thanks for tuning in. 39th like, well, thank you. We're up to 46 now. Almost halfway there. We're still in the first third of this race, so appreciate it, everybody. Now, they already went to the choose rules, so it'll be interesting to see if they go green this time by. If they do, we'll only have 2 laps left in the stage. Like the caution with Hemrick's car catching on fire after they had gotten the 1-to-go signal. He was in the top 10 also. So that's a tough day. No stage points, and he's going to end up with a last place finish as well. Which you mentioned coming in, or which the FS1 booth mentioned coming into the race today. Hemrick was only 35 points to the good above the cutoff line on the JRM Chevrolets of Sam Mayer and Brandon Jones. And although both drivers outside the top 10 right now looking at getting no stage points here at the start of today's race, it's still a little concerning considering the fact that they are still in and Hemrick is now out. Cole Custer's kind of been that guy on the move in the early going of the race. It'll be interesting if he can get track position, if he can actually have the speed to compete with the 2 and the 20. And Creed led every lap prior to the caution, but it sounded like Nemechek was starting to put on a little bit of a late surge there prior to the yellow, which initially came out for the 07 car of Blaine Perkins, stalling out on the racetrack. Stephen Parsons in the 07. Stalled out on the track. Getting into turns 9 and 10. And the pace car will pull off the racetrack. And we will be going green this time. Off of turn 12, green flag back in the air. Nemechek got a good launch. One car that did not get a great launch was Justin Allgaier in the 7, who was on the inside of row 2. Josh Berry easily clears him. Will they all make it through turn 1 this time? Middle of the pack they do. A little bit of contact between the 98 and the 00 that got stacked up on the inside of turn 2. Hopefully there's no damage on the nose of the 98 car. It didn't look like he hit him too hard, but it's tough to tell from that aerial shot. Sheldon Creed was able to pull off of turn 2, though, with the race lead over John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek trying to attack from behind, and Barry did a great job getting up to 3rd place after running 4th prior to the caution. Jordan Taylor remains in the 5th spot as he got a little loose trying to pick up the throttle off of turn 6. And because of that, he lost a spot to Austin Hill. So Hill slides into the top 5 now. Taylor not running for any points, but looking for a solid run in his first Xfinity start of his career today. Ran the Cup race at COTA for Chase Elliott when he was out with an injury earlier this season. Qualified in the top 10. His top 10 also in practice, but not so great in the race. Off of turn 20, back to the main straightaway. John Hunter Nemechek to the inside of Sheldon Creed for the race lead. Nemechek leads his first lap of the race at the line by a nose, and they're going to be door-to-door down into turn 1. Creed is going to not quite let the 20 go. He's going to stay side by side. They give each other a little bit of room through turn 2, and they still stay door-to-door as they'll drag race down to turn 4. Hard 90-degree corner. Nemechek on the inside of it. Creed to the back bumper of the 20. Moves him up the hill just a little bit. They both stay on track. Creed with the crossover now into the horseshoe. And Sheldon Creed fighting in the right-hand lane. Within the left-hand lane, it is Sheldon now on the back bumper of the 20 again. Gave him another quick shot. Sheldon Creed dive bombing. Doing everything he can to try to keep up with John Hunter Nemechek. But Nemechek, who was looking quicker just prior to the caution, now going to use that advantage he probably has on his tires at this point. The run conserved well enough early to take advantage of it late. It continues to hold on the final lap of stage 1. Creed not going to let go of that battle, though, as they work their way off turn 20. Nemechek went wide. He got his right sides off into the grass, and Sheldon Creed rubbed his way on by, and Sheldon Creed is going to win stage 1. On the last corner, the last lap of the stage, John Hunter Nemechek got his left side tires in the grass off of turn 20 as he overdrove it. And Sheldon Creed slipped by to the inside to steal the stage win away from Nemechek, who worked him over cleanly on that restart. 38 car of Joe Graff Jr. went for a spin and turned 20 further back in the pack. Nemechek just missed the corner. And Creed rubbed his way on by. That was a big mistake there from the driver of the 20. And that is the second stage win of the season for Sheldon Creed after leading all but just one lap in the stage. We will be having pit stops when they come back from the full screen commercial break for today's race. While we wait for those pit stops to end up taking place, we will take a quick break here and come back with the action shortly. Listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Xfinity Series Pacific Office Automation 147 at Portland. I don't have any predictions for tomorrow's race quite yet. Haven't really done any researching into the stats on how drivers looked from on-track activity this morning with practice and qualifying. I do know Kyle Busch is on the pole. He finished second at Gateway last year, so he may have a strong run. I'll have to go back and look to see how the RCR cars ran last year collectively, too, and what practice times looked like, because I didn't really look into it yet. But again, we are at the stage 1 break. And we will get back to racing here shortly, I'd assume. Obviously, they'll have a couple-minute red flag period to try to make some adjustments on their cars. A standalone Xfinity race today, so lack of crew members working on these Xfinity Series cars because most of them use crew members that are working for the Cup cars on the Cup race weekend, especially these feeder teams like RCR and JRM usually uses the Chevy Hendrick crew for pit crews, and of course John Hunter not Nemechek, but Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole. SHR, and even a lot of the smaller teams too would end up using hand-me-down pit crews from other teams in the Cup garage. The lack of that. Credit to all the people involved in getting these cars to Portland on time, with the Xfinity Series race not finishing up at Charlotte until Monday night. And they had about a 53-hour drive, according to Google Maps, from Charlotte, North Carolina, where they raced last week, to Portland, Oregon, where they're racing this week. So, great job by all those hauler drivers and just everybody that was involved in trying to transport the vehicle from Charlotte all the way across country for this week's race in a short period of time. Much shorter than what we were already looking at with their race getting postponed 2 days. And obviously having to run the Xfinity race on a Saturday versus Cup Series usually on a Sunday. It's hard to believe the Xfinity Series race just 5 days ago. Two polar opposite sides of the U.S. It'll be a 3-minute break, not a 5-minute break, by the way. But, allowed to add fuel, change 4 tires. Green flag stops, only tires can be changed, so no fueling under green. But the field is on their way to pit road. Once every car is parked in their pit box, they will be able to then service the race car.
Stage 2, and I also want to pay off listed on timing and scoring, and we'll get the official word from NASCAR. Mason Maggio listed is the first car 1 lap down. Under this, our second caution, he would get the free pass. Sammy Smith would stay 1 lap down to begin stage 2. I remember last year this process, and everybody comes down pit road, they park, and then you get that signal. Almost like a home run signal from an umpire in baseball. All right, turn him loose, and the crews jump over the wall and go into action.
Of course, last year it was so different because everyone was trying to get their windshield clean, and
right.
remember, it was pouring rain. There was a lot to do. This will be pretty straightforward for most of these guys.
Yeah, you had way more to manage than just changing tires, adding fuel, and making a chassis adjustment.
Be interested, you talked about Jordan Taylor a minute ago, just to see how he fares after these changes, right? The drivers with experience kind of know what these cars are capable of and what they need to go fast. Jordan Taylor's never been in one of these cars, finishes 6th in that stage. So when you talk to your crew chief, you're not going to ask for a track bar change or a wedge change. You're just going to tell him what the car does and hope your crew chief gives you what you need.
Yeah, well, and one thing for Jordan Taylor is that he got to experience another restart. As you see somebody...
It was Mason Maggio.
Well, he's trying to make that lap up.
Well, he actually, I think
he's going to be one ahead of everybody now.
Wow, this is his second time around. So we've started the clock, as I understand it from NASCAR. Teams can go to work. And we'll see how they handle the Maggio situation, who, as I had pointed out, had received the free pass unofficially. Let's go down to Josh as they're working on these race cars.
And let's start with the 2 of Sheldon Creed. An absolute great battle for him to win that stage, just getting past John Hunter Nemechek. His biggest complaint about the car, saying he's just too tight everywhere, so they're going to try and make an adjustment to help Sheldon out. Moving over to his teammate, the 21 of Austin Hill. He felt going into the day he just didn't have a winning car. He felt he had a top 10 car. What his biggest complaint so far? He's losing lateral grip, and he said he has 0 forward drive, so they're going to make an adjustment to try and help him out as well, Jamie.
Well, for John Hunter Nemechek, he didn't have very many complaints about most of that stint. He did what make the most moves, of the biggest advancement, getting the first place position after that restart, and that was really where all of his attention was he knew that the restarts were going to be rocky, is the way that he put it. But he got it, and in the last 4 laps, he was telling his crew chief, Ben Bayshore, that it just kind of slid out from underneath him. It was a little quiet over the radio, and Ben said, it doesn't really matter. You should have held on to it. So they talked about it just a little bit. They said, it's okay. We're going to go and get him next time. We're going to take on 4 new tires, top you off with fuel. We've got another 25-lap stint. His tires did hold on for most of that stint, so he's got a pretty good car underneath him. And then for the number 7 of Justin Allgaier, one of the things that he noticed was about after lap 12, he didn't have the same car that he had, so they're going to give him just a couple of adjustments, try and make it last a little longer. The sun has been up all day long. The racetrack, even though it has a lot of grip in it compared to what they were expecting, what they knew about last year, it is starting to get a little greasy. So just a couple of adjustments, but overall, Justin's pretty happy with that number 7.
Yeah, man, shocked to hear the crew chief's comments to John Nemechek, because I just think you always believe in your driver. Even if he messes up, you just always pump him up, because mentally inside of the car, that's what you need. You need somebody, because otherwise you're kind of second guessing. Like, you already know you made a mistake, right? So you need your crew chief, your spotter, to come on and be like, rub it off. Let's just move ahead.
I'll say this too, it's early in the race. We got a long way to go, and this team is in such a good position. Missed opportunity, but plenty of time to make up for the miscue. Opening stage went to Sheldon Creed.
So again, with this not being a live pit stop, Sheldon Creed will be the leader on the ensuing restart after winning stage number 1. The stage finishing order had Sheldon Creed winning that stage. Again, it was the second stage win of the year. John Hunter Nemechek was second, Justin Allgaier third, Austin Hill fourth, Josh Berry fifth, Jordan Taylor 6th, Cole Custer 7th, Myatt Snyder 8th, Parker Kligerman 9th, and Riley Herbst ended up finishing in the top 10. Again, all receiving stage points in stage 1. We have still 50 laps of racing yet to go, 25 in stages 2 and 3. But only one more pit stop after this one to try to make adjustments. Only 2 opportunities to do that today, where most races you have probably 3 to 4, if not more, pit stops depending on how cautions play out. But again, not the case here this afternoon, although next weekend when the Xfinity Series goes to Sonoma, they'll be back with the Cup Series, so we will be back to having live pit stops in the Xfinity Series again next week, not yesterday. I don't know why I said yesterday. We're not going to talk about that. All right. Look at maybe who has stopped in the chat. I don't think we've had anybody new has joined, at least from last race to this race. But again, appreciate everybody tuning in. We're up to 52 likes already. Our goal is 100. We got to 103 in the truck race earlier today, so let's see if we can get to 100 for the second time today for the Xfinity race. Quick reminder that our live commentary coverage for next weekend's NASCAR Cup Series race will begin at tomorrow, not next week. Tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series race will begin at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, 3:30 tomorrow afternoon will be our start time for a Cup Series commentary at Gateway. Should be back under a caution flag period when they get back from the break. We should be racing pretty soon. A lot of Chevys up inside the top 5, 6 of them in fact, or 5 in the top 6, I should say, and the only Ford in the top 10 is Cole Custer in 7th. I guess Riley Herbst is in 10th too. Not too many Fords in the field, and outside of SHR, really there aren't many other competitive Ford teams in the Xfinity Series. SHR, in fact, was just a single car team the last couple of years before Custer dropped it back to the Xfinity Series again. Now, I will say, I do kind of feel bad for Custer getting demoted to the Xfinity Series. I wasn't really thinking that at the start of the year. But the way the Cup Series season has gone for Ryan Preece, he is running just as good, if not worse, or right about in points where Cole Custer was most of last year, if not worse. To this point in the season, you got to figure there were points penalties to quite a few drivers that are below him in the standings. And I think, if I remember correctly, Custer was like 26th in points last year. And this year, Preece in the same car is 27th in points. And Chase Elliott is behind him. Chase Elliott is only 10 points behind Priest, and he's ran 6 less races than Priest. And he's going to be out again this week, so he'll probably lose a couple more points. But Harrison Burton hasn't had a penalty, and I think Harrison Burton's the only driver that has not been penalized by NASCAR that is below Priest in the standings. Elliott's missed 6 races. Austin Dillon had a points penalty. Chase Briscoe just had a points penalty last week. And then Noah Gragson had a points penalty this year too. Because I think Eric Jones also did, and Jones is barely ahead of Priest by 1 point. Yeah, it's not good. Not good for Ryan Priest. He hasn't even had a top 10 yet. I just realized that. Ryan Priest is the only driver in the top 31 in points without a top 10. The only full-time Cup drivers that have not had a top 10 and that have ran every race outside of Ryan Priest is Ty Dillon, who's 33rd in points, and Noah Gragson, who's 32nd. So those are the only 2 drivers that have also not had a top 10. He had opportunities at a couple of tracks with speed, especially the short tracks. Like Martinsville, he had a fast car, started on the pole, but had that pit road penalty and never came back from it. Richmond, he had a lot of speed, and I think he got caught up in a wreck middle of the race, if I remember correctly. And then Dirt Bristol had speed and then ran in to Larson. He didn't have a great car after Larson got into him the first time, and then kind of sealed the deal getting into him a second time and cost him even more. Now they are doubled up and have already gone through the choose rules, so we will be going green this time by. Officially, we'll have 23 laps to go in Stage 2. Pace car in turn 19 will pull out of the way, and into turn 20 go the leaders through the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Sheldon Creed on the inside. John Hunter Nemechek on the outside of the front row. Creed gets a great launch there at the start. Nemechek not so much. Allgaier all over the door of the 20 cars across the start-finish line. Now they can pull out of line. Cole Custer got to make it 3 wide underneath Josh Berry and Austin Hill into the first turn. And Berry gets turned by Austin Hill. They were 3 wide into turn 2 still. Berry gets hooked. Around he goes. Everybody squirts by to the outside. And a tough break for Josh Berry, who was 5th at the end of Stage 1, and now is going to end up finishing towards the back of the pack here in this stage, considering there are no live pit stops. Creed was able to hold on to the race lead at the front of the field. John Hunter Nemechek trying to go on the attack again. Allgaier's in 3rd. Custer did a great job getting to 4th, and also Parker Kligerman now inside the top 5 today, as he got by Austin Hill and Josh Berry when they made the contact with each other. He also got by Jordan Taylor on the restart, who must have spun his tires or something because he lost some track position. And I think Alex Labate in the 91 car might be in the top 10 now as well after another great restart. 11th, actually. 11th place is where Labate scored at the line. So they were 3 wide down into the first turn, as I called it. But then they were still 3 wide into turn 2. Austin Hill was just kind of hanging on that left rear corner panel of Berry and ended up making contact with him. Hill probably could have gotten out of the gas a little more and let Berry down in. It wasn't really Berry's fault, kind of being put 3 wide middle like that. It was just kind of in an uncompromised situation, and Austin Hill didn't give as much room. It's tough, though, for Austin Hill to try to get out of the gas and give as much room because of how tight cars are packed in, both in front and behind him, too. So definitely a racing deal. We've seen that on a lot of these flatter road courses, or road courses in general, with a wide main straightaway leading into a very tight turn 1. This is very similar to turn 1 at Indy. And we've seen one driver in the top 10 go for a spin already on restarts today. More than one, I should say. I think 3 drivers total have spun in turn 1 so far. Nobody on the last restart before this one. Parker Kligerman is closing in on Cole Custer right now. Custer was looking like one of the faster cars on the racetrack in that first stage, but started at the back of the field today. Got his way into the top 10 before the end of the stage. Now he's up to 4th. Parker Kligerman, though, just behind him. Kligerman didn't even really get into the top 10 until very late in that first stage, ended up 9th. So he was showing a lot more speed there towards that later portion of the green flag run, and then obviously had a good restart when they had a 2-lap dash to the green, white checkered flag as well. Got spots there, got more there, and with a smaller team, not having any live pit stops may actually help Kligerman out a little bit, trying to keep him in position to maybe compete for a solid finish. He came in 35 points below the cutoff line into today's race, so Kligerman needs a solid run to try to cut back on that gap. Mentioned how good he is on the road courses in these lower series, and having back-to-back road races, 3 road course races of the next 4 points races for the Xfinity Series, because they got the Chicago Street Course race on 4th of July weekend as well. Nashville, the only oval in the next month for the Xfinity Series. They'll also be off Father's Day weekend, just like the Truck and the Cup side as well. Sheldon Creed with about a half a second lead over John Hunter Nemechek. He had a 1.3 second lead over the 20 car in stage 1 during a green flag run before Nemechek started running down prior to the caution. Got to the lead on the restart and then blew the last corner, which allowed Creed to get back out in front. Creed got to the lead quickly on this restart as well. He's been timing out that restart zone very well, and Sheldon Creed is going to have another early lead here in this stage, but we'll see if he can hang on into the longer run. Got to conserve his tires a little bit better than he did last time, and maybe Nemechek kind of letting him go out to that 1.3 second lead. He was saving him just a little bit more for later in the run. Capitalized for a brief moment before making the mistake he did. 20 laps to go, still stage 2 to this point. Top 3 all still pretty close to one another. Mentioned a half a second lead for the 2 over the 20, but the 7 of Justin Allgaier is like right there also. Across the start-finish line that last time by. Cole Custer was actually about 2/10 quicker than Sheldon Creed that last lap as well. And Parker Kligerman ran the fastest lap time of any driver on the racetrack that last lap with a 76.089. That was Kligerman's fastest lap of the day. And if I'm not mistaken, that was the fastest lap that not only Kligerman ran that last lap, but it was the fastest lap any driver has ran in today's race. So Parker Kligerman had fit the fastest car on track all day so far as we run. Still 44 laps to go, 31 laps in the books. Working themselves over in the middle portion of the racetrack this lap, Sheldon Creed. Continuing on. We'll lead in another lap. Turn 20 seems to be the best passing opportunity to at least get alongside somebody. And then you try to outbrake them into turn 1 down the longest straightaway of the racetrack. Parker Kligerman trying to do that on Cole Custer that last time by. Took a peek to the inside, didn't quite get underneath Custer down into turn 1 though. And that last lap, Kligerman again was faster than anybody else on the racetrack. So the last 2 laps, the 48 has been the fastest. But he is now kind of stuck behind Custer, and until he makes a pass for position, he's not going to be able to close in on the top 3. Sorry for the sniffles. My allergies started to calm down, and then they all of a sudden started ramping back up again when I itched my eye during that commercial break, which was a terrible decision. I'll tell you what, the last week to week and a half, my seasonal allergies have been absolutely terrible. Justin Allgaier making his way around in the horseshoe past John Hunter Nemechek. So Allgaier moves into second place now, trying to run down fellow Chevy driver Sheldon Creed. Allgaier looking for back-to-back wins. That'd be impressive after starting the season off not slow by a consistency standpoint, but just in the sense he wasn't really competing for many wins this year. until he won at Charlotte last week. This could be the turnaround that 7 team and really JRM as a whole needed. Kligerman could go back out and win again this afternoon. 2 races in 5 days. Cole Custer playing a little defense down into turn 1. Ran a very low line at his entry into the corner. Actually still closed on the 20 of Nemechek ahead of him, so maybe the wrong way in an adjustment. But John Hunter in that race team. And that had caused Nemechek to lose a little extra time on the racetrack. Actually, it looked like Nemechek may have gotten to the inside of Sheldon Creed a couple of laps ago, or about a lap ago, and that's how Allgaier was able to squirm by the 24 position. A little bumper tag now from the 48 to the back of the 00. Kligerman's been tired of running behind Custer for position, realizes, hey, I want to go, I want a shot to get up here and contend, and I think Kligerman can be somebody that could be a contender for the race win with the speed he's showing right now in Stage 2. At last lap, again, he ran quicker than anybody else. So the last 3 laps on track, Kligerman's been the fastest car. And we'll see this time by the start-finish line if that'll be the same once again. Not quite that last lap, but I think it was because he might have had a hiccup when he tried to put the bumper to the 00. It actually just kind of pushed Custer out a little further ahead of him, rather than getting him loose and trying to make a pass. Chandler Smith, after spinning very early in this race, back at Stage 1 on lap 1, is now in 14th, so he's working his way forward. And then Josh Berry, who spun off the last restart, is up to 28th. And they're standing with Daniel Hemrick.
We saw your car on fire. Do you realize that all what happened?
Yeah, not really happened so fast. So, we left turn 7 down there to grid up for the restart, and I had a funny feel all of a sudden, like the top 10 or 15% of the gas pedal, a lot of play in it. And then about that time, I saw smoke out the right front fender, and then smoke out of the carburetor, the cal area. And then I knew I had a problem. I had to get out. But at that point, I knew it was on fire. So sounds like it was something fuel-related, carburetor-related. ECR does such a great job for us, and very rare to have something like that happen, but yeah, I think they're actually going to be able to repair the stuff that got burned up, and we'll be able to get the Circle Chevrolet back out there. Definitely not going to be as fast as Xfinity 10G internet, but disappointing. But great race cars here. Just disappointed to have a weekend get away from us like this.
Disappointing end to the day for Daniel Hemrick, guys.
Thank you, Josh.
Battle for the race lead starting to intensify as Justin Allgaier is now pulled to the back bumper of Sheldon Creed, who doesn't seem to show the same pace that he did all the way back in Stage 1. Creed gets a lot better drive off, but turn entry is where he seems to be giving up and allowing these drivers to really close. And if they can get to the back bumper of him and potentially move him up out of the way, I think we might have a line of cars making their way by Sheldon Creed here in the middle portion of this race. Side-by-side commercial break, so we'll keep our full coverage going here. No breaks ourselves. Justin Allgaier trying to hold on to it in that second place position. Getting a good run in the draft before diving off into the next set of corners. Through turn 19 and then back onto the main straightaway. Turn 11 back onto the main straightaway off of turn 12. Allgaier all over the back of the 2. Staying in the draft. Now going to pull out a line at the start-finish line. Maybe going to try to make the dive down into turn 1. It's a fake. He'll pull back up into line, and he will not attempt to try to make the pass on Creed this time. Thought Nemechek was going to start going backwards once he fell back to third, but it looks like he is still in the third place position so far. Brett Whiteside, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I don't think Creed looks quite as quick here in Stage 2 as what he did in Stage 1. He is definitely holding up a lot of cars behind him. The top 5 within 1.7 seconds of each other on a road course. And I think they'd be more spaced apart if the 2 wasn't leading by the way the pace is from the cars behind him. Biggest gap really is after Jordan Taylor, who was only 2.3 seconds off the lead as well, but Myatt Snyder in 7th is about 6 seconds off the lead, so there's about a nearly 4-second gap there between cars. on the track. Off turn 12 again, maybe the best corner to try to make the pass, but Allgaier a little bit further away from the back of the 2 car this time by versus the prior lap. And it almost looks like the 10 car is starting to turn into one of the faster cars on the racetrack. That last lap, Jordan Taylor a little bit quicker than both Cole Custer and Parker Kligerman in front of him. Not quite as quick as the top 3. And Sheldon Creed did pick up that last lap. He was actually the quickest car on track. The clean air advantage all of a sudden got himself a good little run going.
At the front of the field, but nothing has changed since we stepped away. It continues to be the same running order inside the top 5, but Justin Allgaier starting to get a little more aggressive with Sheldon Creed.
Yeah, Sheldon looks to me like he struggles in some of the slower corners and is holding these guys up. But he's so good on the exit onto the front stretch and then onto the back stretch like we see right here that just not able to be close enough to passing into the braking zones.
The other thing, Trevor, is it's so tight up there. If one gets by, they made all three. Yeah, that's right. That's what I was going to say. It's a freight train that goes right by with maybe 3 or 4 cars.
Sheldon's done an incredible job being defensive with his line, though. Those shallow entries that you talked about, and maybe he is tight. He's going to use those curves to help the car rotate. But when you have forward drive, it makes it so hard to pass, just like you were talking about, Jamie, because you can't set up the next corner in that next braking zone without just overcharging it. But I will tell you, as hard as he's driving that thing, I've got to imagine in the next couple laps it's going to start to fade a little bit because John Hunter Nemechek, Justin Allgaier, Cole Custer, they're riding a little bit right now. They aren't putting that pressure on him, and as his car fades, they'll probably get by him.
Well, that's exactly what we saw at the end of that first stage, right? He was able to manage that for about 20 laps. So we're kind of coming up on that point of this run as well, where John Hunter Nemechek was able to capitalize and reel him in. He was somewhat saved by the caution there.
Just over halfway through stage 2, talking about John Hunter Nemechek. So let's look at our Toyota top performers in today's race. Myatt Snyder having another good day in Portland. He's going to move out here and run the weekly series, isn't he? He was so good here a year ago. Great again today. Only his 2nd start of the season, driving that 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's 7th. 14th, Connor Mozak. Can't say enough about him. Not even running full time, but getting it done.
Myatt Snyder had to be jumping up and down when he found out he's going to be in a Joe Gibbs racing car at a track where he ran in the top 3 a lot of the race. I know what that feeling's like, and for Myatt, I'm sure he's had this one circled for a long time.
Little distance now has been created. His top 4 pulled away a bit from Kligerman and Jordan Taylor. There's the 19 of Myatt Snyder. Race full time in an Xfinity car the last 3 years. Got that win a couple of seasons ago at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and as we said, so close to getting career win number 2 last year right here at Portland.
That's a good-looking car. The paint scheme on that car, I love that. Every time we zoom in on that, it's a good-looking race car. They did a nice job designing that.
We've been talking a lot about Justin Allgaier in the 7, but his teammate Sam Mayer has quietly crept into the top 10 now. You know, earlier in the day he had some trouble to get all the laps in and qualifying and practice, but now, being in the top 10 at this point in the race, he's making some ground.
Yeah, plus 26 from the start of the race. It's been quiet, but a great move to the front. I want you guys to watch right here when they exit turn 12. I noticed this a couple of laps ago. Look at how close they get to this outside wall, and the reason that's a big deal is because it's on the driver's side. But normally when we run an oval, when you get close to the wall, it's the passenger side that's going to hit first. This reminds me of Mexico City years ago. We ran a track and you had to get close and actually hit the driver's side wall over there. Much different feeling inside the car.
How about Watkins Glen on exit of the last
same thing,
corner?
that's right, yep.
Saw that biggest movers graphic pop in there a second ago while you guys were talking. 3 of our biggest movers have worked their way into the top 10, and all of them had to start at the rear today for one reason or another. Riley Herbst racing hard with a 21 of Austin Hill for position inside the top 10.
Man, he was hanging on to that thing out of turn 1. He tried to get inside of Austin Hill the lap before and wasn't able to get it done. Committed that time, and you can see the back of that car dancing as he was on the brakes down to turn 1.
Jordan Taylor's kind of biding his time in 6 there. He's got a little gap back to Myatt Snyder. But if these next 4 drivers that are on the mission right now catch him, his day's going to get a little bit more busy. He's done such a good job just being quiet and calm. But Riley Herbst, when he gets there, he's trying to head to the front.
You know, you got to assume that Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill have a similar setup and lack of practice here. You're going to come very similar. And, you know, it's been reported that the two cars too tight. Watching this 21. Oh, a lot of dirt from Riley Herbst in the entry to turn 10. You got to assume that 21 car is probably too tight balance-wise. As the road goes on, that just continues to get worse and worse.
Did that dirt distract Austin Hill enough to open the door for Sam Mayer to make the pass?
Oh, he checked up for sure.
What you don't know as a driver is when you see all that dirt is what's the grip level going to be when I get there. And there's nothing you can do about it. You've already committed to the corner.
And what's on the other side of the dirt cloud, right?
Larry McReynolds has always told me, I share with my driver every time we go to a road course, asphalt is good, dirt is bad. And we had a whole lot of the dirt flying there.
And it also didn't help that Sam Mayer was pushing the rear bumper pretty aggressive, too.
He was already in position to make the move, and that might have just put it over the top.
Yeah, take a look at this right here, guys. We talked about how close you get to the wall. Well, this, it's just a little bit too close to the wall.
Somebody handed him a water bottle through the fence there like a triathlon.
Oh, it's so close right there. Just a little scuff.
Kaz Gralla providing the pictures. His teammate is under attack. Anthony Alfredo with a 78 going around the 24 of Connor Mozak.
Yeah, Kaz Gralla is going to need one of those dude wipes after hitting the wall.
We're going to toe the line of what you can and can't say on cable
Jamie's gonna find
television.
it.
That's right. Every time it's been...
8 laps to go in stage 2 right now. Sheldon Creed is leading by 0.3 of a second over Justin Allgaier in second place still. John Hunter Nemechek's in third, 0.6 of a second off the lead. Cole Custer is in fourth, 1.2 seconds back. Parker Kligerman in fifth, 2.4 seconds off the lead. Jordan Taylor is in sixth place, 3.6 seconds off the lead. Myatt Snyder is 8.3 seconds back at seventh. Riley Herbst in eighth, 10.4 seconds back. Sam Mayer is 10.7 seconds off the lead in ninth, and Austin Hill rounds out the top 10 at 11.5 seconds off the lead. We'll take a quick break here. You're listening live at KRC on the YouTube channel for today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race in Portland. We'll get back with the end of Stage 2 here shortly, as it does look like they're about to go under caution potentially with the 08 car stalling on track. He may get to pit road. He's limping his way there with 8 laps to go in the stage, and he will get there. He was in turn 12. So Joe Graff Jr. having some problems. But we will get back to coverage here shortly. Battle for second between John Hunter Nemechek and Justin Allgaier into turn 1. Allgaier had the outside lane through the first turn, inside on the next 2 turns for the 20. May have made a little bit of contact, and now Cole Custer will work his way in turn 4 underneath the 20 car of Nemechek, but he's not able to get the pass made. And Nemechek back on the attack on the 7 car. This has allowed Sheldon Creed to get out to about a 0.6 of a second lead, if not more than that, on Allgaier, middle of this lap with 7 to go. Kligerman trying to really round out his corner. Wide sweeping entry as he tries to close on Custer. Creed working their way down towards turn 11. Off of 12, 6 to go now in stage 2. Nemechek and Allgaier continuing the battle. Allgaier slipping back into the throttle off the exit of turn 20. Nemechek trying to stay in that draft as much as he can. Kligerman pulling out of line on the 0-0 of Cole Custer back behind them. Custer with a block to hang on to the position. And Allgaier closed quite a bit on Sheldon Creed through turns 1 and 2. Creed maybe backed the corner up just a little bit too much. He's done an impressive job. Again, Creed's led all but 1 lap today. That 1 lap was led by Nemechek coming to the final lap of stage 1. But then Creed ended up getting the stage win in a late battle anyway by passing him on that final lap of the final corner. Parker Kligerman is really putting a battle up on the 0-0. It's amazing how close these top 5 cars are battling with each other, but nobody's able to actually pass anybody. They're all so equal. thought for a while there that Sheldon Creed might have been holding him up, but it's tough for anybody to make any passes. I think we'll know how fast Creed's car is if he loses the lead and if he's still able to keep up with cars in front of him in dirty air, just because we haven't been able to see what the 2-car would handle like in traffic versus the clean air he's had this whole race. 5 laps to go now in stage 2 at the line. Top 6 cars within 3 seconds. The top 5 within 1.6 at the line. Kligerman again with a run on Cole Custer. This time he does get to the inside. Nope, not quite again. Has to go back in line behind Cole. And Nemechek is not able to keep up with Allgaier, who for the second straight lap got through turns 1 and 2 a lot better than the 20 car. And really, Allgaier better through 1 and 2 than anybody of the top 5 the last couple of times by. He was about 2/10 quicker than Sheldon Creed the last lap. So he tries to close back into the back bumper again of the race leader. Track is just so narrow, it's so difficult to try to make a pass made. Again, you can get side by side, but as you try not to run the other car off the racetrack, it's really hard to get back to the gas and actually complete the pass. Even if you're running side by side a couple corners in a row. Be on the inside one corner and then to the outside the next, and maybe can't get as good of a drive off without going off course. And if you were to do that, you'd end up losing even more time anyway. Now that last lap, Myatt Snyder was actually just as quick as the leaders. In fact, he was about 3/10 quicker than Sheldon Creed, which is interesting. Creed being the leader, obviously. And in fact, I believe Snyder was the fastest car on track in general. So not just the race leader, but Myatt Snyder, again, fastest on track that last lap. Now, he is about 9.2 seconds off the leaders, so he probably has saved his tires considering how much further back he is going. The problem is he only has 4 laps to try to get back up there and contend for the stage win. So that's probably not going to be able to happen. But if we get into the final stage and he can keep up with them, maybe Myatt Snyder can be in contention for a solid finish today. Top 5, maybe even an outside chance at the win. Gotta be in contention to first win it. Oh no, he just spun! Right as we were talking so good and praising Myatt Snyder, he spins. And he is going to lose a few positions on the racetrack. He was the fastest car on track the last couple laps. And he's going to fall from 7th outside the top 10. Jeb Burton, Sam Mayer, Austin Hill, Riley Herbst all just passed him. I'm not sure exactly how far back he ended up falling, but he just overcooked the corner all on his own. Slid not completely out of the way, but out of the way enough for drivers to get by to the bottom, and I believe he fell back to about 12th. Showing a spin on racetrack a little bit ago as well with Chandler Smith in the 16. Tough day for Chandler as he loses even more positions. Second time he has spun, and now he is parked back in the 19th place position. Custer and Kligerman losing the top 3 just a little bit right now after Kligerman has failed to get around the 0-0 of Custer in recent laps. John Hunter Nemechek a lot wider in his cornering on Allgaier, who is a little bit better through those last couple corners. Almost got into the back of the 2 of Creed. Through the horseshoe. Down the chute, headed for turn 10. Lap car may get in the way at the rear end of the field. It'd be Kyle Sieg in the 28. Right in front of the leaders. He's going to let the leaders go to the outside in turn 20. This is probably going to affect Nemechek the worst, it looked like, from where he caught him in the center of the corner. So he'll lose the 7 by about a car length in that corner alone. And Sheldon Creed also really good through that corner on the outside lane as he was able to pull Allgaier to the line, but Allgaier in the draft trying to gain ground into turn 1, and the 2 of Creed may have smoked the tires in turn 1, which is going to allow the 7 car to kind of close that gap back down again. 2 laps to go in stage 2. Creed won at stage 1 with a last lap pass. Will anybody make a last lap pass in this stage to beat Creed? Everybody's slipping and sliding on these older tires at this point in the run. Lap times have fallen off by about 2.5 seconds for some of these drivers inside the top 10. during this roughly 20-lap green flag run. The longest green flag run of the race so far. We are seeing some good racing at that. Nemechek is all over the 7 again. And he's going to look to the inside into turn 20. Allgaier's out of the groove. He's got a lift in the outside lane to try to make it off the exit of the corner. He gets into it with Custer. Custer squeezes underneath, trying to get that third place position away from Allgaier. Nemechek cleared him, and there was a lot of contact between the 7 and the 00. Great job keeping it off the wall by both drivers. They're still door-to-door into turn 1 as Custer bounces off the curb. The 20 closes on the back of the 2 through turn 2. Custer clear for 3rd. Kligerman going for 4th under the 7, but the 7 cuts off the 48. Now can Sheldon Creed hold off the number 20 of John Hunter Nemechek for the 2nd straight stage as Nemechek is back into P2. And immediately after passing Allgaier, wasted no time trying to close in 1 and 2 on Creed, which seems to be the corner where he's losing the most of the cars behind him. Not able to gauge off the other drivers where exactly they're braking versus him, so that may be allowing other drivers behind him to try to close that gap. Plus, in the draft down the long straightaway, of course, helps as well. A little less than a half a lap to go. Nemechek's going to have 3 more corners to try to get by Sheldon Creed. He's not going to get him in his left-hander. Both cars off into the grass just a little bit. Nemechek is pushing so hard. Through 19. Oh, he turned him! Nemechek turns the leader in turn 20. Creed's around. Down to the inside goes Custer. Drag race back to the line at stage 2. Door to door. Will it be Nemechek or Custer? It's Custer by inches. Cole Custer wins stage 2. Nemechek second after he dumps Sheldon Creed in turn 20, and Creed had to get corrected back in the right direction. He ends up 6th. Losing out on a playoff point and 5 stage points late. Lucky he didn't lose more positions or end up in the wall potentially, but final corner on the final lap of the stage. Again, this time it is Nemechek who gets by Custer. And then, or Nemechek who got by Creed, but then Custer won the stage because the 20, after making contact, slid too far up the track again. 2nd lap in a row, he got in deep into 20. Or into turn 12. The 20 car got deep into turn 12. And Custer was about 3 to 4 car lengths behind Nemechek going into the corner. He just drove right through him. And Cole Custer barely was able to beat the 20 car. Side drafted him. He beat him through the gears just enough. Maybe a little early on the upshifts for John Hunter Nemechek, which caused for Custer to beat him back to the line in a photo finish at stage 2. It was very, very close. Almost too close to call. Thrilling finish to both the stages here today for the Xfinity Series at Portland. This will be the 3rd stage win of the season for third stage win of the season for Cole Custer. Yeah, we've heard turn 20 a lot. There's 12 turns on this road course. I don't know where I'm getting turn 20 from. I keep calling it like it's COTA, and it's not COTA. Wow. Can't believe that. Linda Leverett, thanks for tuning in. Sid for Brains, welcome back to Race 2. Thanks for everybody tuning in so far today. A late spin in the final corner of Stage 2. John Hunter Nemechek dumps Sheldon Creed. And Nemechek didn't even get the stage win himself. It was Cole Custer by a nose beating the 20 back to the line to win Stage 2. Custer, who has been winless this season in the Xfinity Series, been the most consistent driver of those without a win, as he's 4th in points. But good stage win. Again, 3rd of the year for Cole Custer. We'll be seeing our final pit stop of the race during the Stage 2 break coming up. Again, no live pit stops. The teams will have 3 minutes during a red flag period to make adjustments to the race cars. While that is going to go on, first we have to get through our Stage 2 diecast showing. So this guy won a NASCAR Cup race last week, and he's my favorite driver. Ryan Blaney winning the 600 on Monday. So we have to get a Ryan Blaney diecast showing in this weekend. And here is his 2019 PPG paint scheme Ford Mustang. I think a lot of people really like this scheme. This was maybe one of the more higher voted schemes for the season, and I haven't seen Ryan Blaney in a PPG car since 2020. So, PPG wants to come back, sponsor Ryan Blaney. Got a good-looking race car. But this is 2019 Monster Energy Cup Series still at the time. And this is our diecast showing for this Saturday edition of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Live commentary stream on the channel. So again, we will be having pit stops very shortly. And before we get to those pit stops, we will take a quick break ourselves. You're listening live on KRC. Wild racing so far through the first two stages for the Xfinity Series at Portland, and I think we're going to have an even bigger finish to the end of this one as well. Pit road will be open this time. Nemechek scores more stage points here in today's race than any other Xfinity driver with 18 stage points. Second in both stages, kind of like we saw from Majeski earlier today. Allgaier gets 16 points total. Sheldon Creed with 15 points. Cole Custer with 14. Austin Hill with 9, as well as Parker Kligerman. 6 points for Barry. 4 points for Mayer. 4 for Herbst and 3 for Snyder in today's race. So those were the 10 drivers with the most stage points total through the first two stages. Again, one more pit stop, and then the final stage will begin with just over 20 laps to go following this short red flag period for teams to make their changes. Here they come.
Hey guys, and just a recap of what I just heard over the radio for the two team. I'll have to clean it up for you. I can tell you they are not happy. Both Sheldon Creed and crew chief Jeff Stankiewicz voiced their displeasure, let's say, with the 20 and didn't put out of the realm of possibility some kind of payback if they find themselves going toe-to-toe later on in the race. But I can tell you right now, the two is not happy at what happened, Jamie.
Well, for John Hunter Nemechek, he was quick on the radio, also telling his guys, he pinched my nose. I definitely did not mean to make him go around. So not taking any responsibility for it at that point in time, but he doesn't feel the same way. But as soon as NASCAR goes ahead and tells the teams, you can go out over the wall. All of these crews you're going to see jump over. There's really only two ways that you can be penalized here in these non-competitive pit stops. The first is if you're over the wall too early. The second is if you're still sitting in your pit box once the clock has expired and you're able to run. So you see all of the teams just sitting up and down right now, just waiting. These are 5 crew guys that are going over the wall that are on the road crew. So as we covered, not the normal pit teams doing these pit stops today. Most of them have taken, now that they're able to go over the wall, they're going ahead and doing the 4 tire change at first. We look at Cole Custer here in that 00. I just checked in with his team and talked to his crew chief, Jonathan Toney. He said, we're happy with this car right now. He said, we're not going to make a whole bunch of changes. Really, it's just going to be in the air pressures. Take a good look. You can see the crew member looking in that wheel well, making sure there's nothing that can cause any problems later on. So just taking their time, quick and easy. Josh?
Well, yeah, and talking about the 10 of Jordan Taylor's team came over the radio and told him, hey, man, you're running the perfect race right now. Keep saving your stuff. And he told me going into this race, it was all about managing the race and getting to where he could be there at the end to make a move. So he's been kind of patient so far. We saw him come on towards the end of that stage, but he's been happy with his car. The only complaint is just losing grip for him. Otherwise, the 10 in a good position so far. Jamie?
Another thing that makes these non-competitive stops just a little bit different is that every single car in the field is on pit lane at the same time, and while they have plenty of room in their box, they still have to get in there straight, and that was one of the things that Parker Kligerman struggled with a little bit in that first round of pit stops. He was a little too close to the wall. His crew didn't have quite enough room to make it comfortable and keep it easy, so that was the word that Patrick Donahue, his crew chief, gave him. Just make sure you leave us some room over here. They're not making any huge adjustments. They're really happy with the way that this number 48 is being able to perform on the long runs. We knew he had a fast car after practice. Then they had that gearbox issue all the way up into the top 5. It's just been a great run for Parker, and it was one that he really needs.
You know, those last two reports from Jamie and Josh on the 10 and the 48, Taylor and Kligerman, 2 of the 5 drivers in our top 10 for the final stage that have never won in the Xfinity Series. We had 3 first-time winners this year. We're in line maybe for another one here today.
I think we can see it for sure. And Jordan Taylor, Josh was right. He's running the perfect race. We looked at his car, and there was like one little mark on his left front fender. Everybody else looks like they've already run 75 laps here door to door on a green-white checkered. So he's saving his stuff, and that's a good place to be.
Cole Custer with that great finish at the end of stage 2. He's got his 3rd stage win of the year.
Once again, Cole Custer wins stage 2 today. We'll go through the top 10 that all received stage points there. Again, Custer gets the stage win. John Hunter Nemechek was 2nd. Justin Allgaier 3rd. Parker Kligerman 4th. And Jordan Taylor was 5th. Sheldon Creed, after spinning in that final corner off the front bumper of the 20 of Nemechek, ends up finishing 6th in the stage. Sam Mayer 7th. Riley Hurst 8th. Austin Hill 9th. And Jeb Burton in 10th. So the good news is for Creed, he is still in contention to try to get the win in this race today, but did lose a couple positions, and that was the one of only 2 laps he has not led under green in today's race from the pole. Creed's ran a pretty stellar day so far, but now going to have to work in traffic for the first time, so really good to see exactly how good that 2 car is, trying to work his way back towards the front again. Marcus Collins, thanks for tuning into the stream here recently as well. So we are down to 24 laps to go currently. Again, under a red flag period following the stage N. As these teams are making adjustments, they are back under the caution flag period. It looks like red flag has been lifted. The 3 minutes are up. So we are, again, back under caution flag period for this race. Terry Lewis, thanks for tuning back in as well. We have just under 90 people watching right now, 69 likes on the stream. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Once again, live commentary for the NASCAR Cup Series race at Gateway will start tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, 3:30 tomorrow will be the start of the NASCAR Cup Series race right here on the channel. Our second race of the day, a thrilling one so far. Had a good truck race earlier on this afternoon, and I think this race is going to have a pretty stellar finish as well, the way things are shaping up. So, can't wait. Free pass during the stage break was given to Sammy Smith in the 31st place position. Boy, he has had a tough day today. Spent most of this race a lap down after having to make an unscheduled pit stop all the way back on the first lap. We still don't know exactly why he had to make that pit stop, but as a result, went a lap down, especially because he ended up having to come back onto pit road a second time, and they were trying to keep him on the lead lap. He had a pit road speeding penalty on his way in that very first time as well. So, pit road speeding penalty for Sammy Smith on top of the unscheduled stop. That's why he was a lap down the first 2 stages. I think he started in the 16th place position today, so it'll be interesting to see if he can make his way back up towards the front of the field. I don't think he's going to get all the way up there in about just over 20 laps to the end of this race. He's probably going to need a lot of carnage to happen in front of him, which is not impossible. We know turn 1 on these road course races in NASCAR tend to lead themselves into trouble. We've seen spins today. Hopefully we don't see major wreckage going on, but it'll be interesting. They are back from the commercial break, and it'll be very interesting to see who will go on to win this NASCAR Xfinity Series race today. The top 5 on the restart will be Cole Custer in the lead. John Hunter Nemechek is going to be 2nd. Justin Allgaier 3rd. Parker Kligerman 4th. And Jordan Taylor will be in 5th. Sheldon Creed won stage 1. Cole Custer won stage 2. Both were last lap passes. Creed has led 46 laps today, but now will have to come from 6th in what could be the final restart of the afternoon. We went caution-free at stage 2, and the only caution for incident today was the 07 of Stephen Parsons stalling out on the racetrack. And then during that said caution, Daniel Hemrick's race car ended up catching fire, which set up just a 2-lap green and white checker finish for stage 1, and then obviously the 2 stage ends were the only 3 cautions in today's race so far. So hopefully we can get this race in. It's been a solid race so far. And we will see who's going to get it done. I'll put a quick poll in the chat because I failed to do so earlier of who you think will win. Cannot spell. Who will win today's Xfinity Series race? Hey, Custer looked like the fastest car earlier in the day. So we will see if they'll be able to turn that speed back around. Alright, that poll is up in the chat. You guys can vote. I'll close it with about 5 laps to go, and then we'll see where it's at from there. Green flag is back in the air. Stage 3 underway at Portland. 23 laps to go at the line. Cole Custer leads him down into turn 1. Had a great restart. Smokes the tires. Oh, he overran it. Cole Custer misses turn 1. He's got to make the penalty. Oh my goodness, Cole Custer had such a great launch. Almost too good of one. And down into the first turn, he blows the corner. And Justin Allgaier has the lead for the first time today on the other side. Nemechek is second, followed by Kligerman and Creed. And now Kligerman to the back of the 20 car for second. Kligerman's car standing up on 3 wheels. That left side tire, left front specifically, up off the ground as he was powering back into the gas, trying to keep up with the 20 car. Sheldon Creed going wide, trying to set up and make a move. Couldn't quite take the position over away from the 48. Just him pulling out a line side by side for one corner like that ended up allowing the top 2 cars ahead of him to slightly pull away. Kligerman's trying to drive the wheels off of that race car, trying to keep up with the top 2, but the way he's pushing hard right now, he's not going to be able to save his tires for later in the run. Craig can't get underneath him off of turn 12 as they work back to the start-finish line. 22 laps to go. Cole Custer blows turn 1 on the restart. And I think he ended up coming out of turn 1 back in 9th place after that stop-and-go penalty. Or not stop-and-go penalty necessarily, but a big mistake there for Sheldon Creed, to say the least, all on his own. Kaz Gralla had some damage from back in the pack at turn 1 as well. They are bashing down the front of that race car, trying to get Gralla back out onto the track. Not as good of a day as I would have expected out of that 26 of Gralla, but he's got a chance to try to make up for it with a few more road course races coming up over the next month for the Xfinity Series. Custer did fall back to the 8th place position. So Custer fell back to 8th place. I think he actually fell back to 9th, but then Riley Herbst got passed by Cole. After blowing turn 1, John Hunter Nemechek still digging, trying to keep up with Allgaier to this point. 21 laps to go at the start-finish line as Justin Allgaier continues his race lead. Looks like Austin Hill and Sam Mayer battling back for 6th place on the main straightaway. Mayer on the inside of Hill. Lap car coming out of the pits down on the bottom of the track. That's going to mess up Hill and Taylor. And actually Sam Mayer passed Jordan Taylor. It looked like Taylor might have actually let the one car go down into the first turn. And so the first time we've seen that one car of Sam Mayer now inside the top 5 today. Good run here in the second half of this race. Second Junior Motorsport Chevrolet to get up there. Saw Josh Berry in the top 5 at the end of stage 1, but then he ended up having a pit road, or sorry, no, it wasn't a pit road penalty. It was spun on a restart, in fact. Creed gonna make a pass on the 48 car of Parker Kligerman, and here comes Sam Mayer trying to make a pass on Kligerman as well. Parker went a little wide. That left front tire came up off the ground again, and a 3-wheel stand had caused him to not quite keep all 4 on the track. Sheldon Creed in 3rd is trying to catch up to the 20 car of John Hunter Nemechek, who had wrecked him for that stage 2 win earlier. 20 to go in the stage this time by, as Allgaier's got about a 4/10 of a second advantage at the start-finish line over Nemechek. And it looks like Mayer might get passed by Kligerman again down into turn 1. Parker gets alongside of him, can't stay alongside, and through turn 2 he'll dive back in line behind the 1 car. Top 3 starting to pull away from 4th on back as the changing for positions continues on. We'll see if Mayer's got anything for the top 3. He's showing a lot of speed here all of a sudden in this final stage. Great adjustments may be made to that race car. We haven't really seen him higher than 10th in the running order prior to the restart here in this final stage. Nemechek to the back bumper, the 7. He knows he needs to get going with Sheldon Creed starting to close in behind, and he knows Creed's not going to be patient whatsoever once he gets to the back of the 20. I think Creed sees red right now with the 20 car in front of him. Even though the 20's not in a red car, he is seeing red. And I wonder if he's going to get to him in the same corner because they're getting closer to turn 20, and Sheldon Creed is all over John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek driving it in deep into the corner. Creed moves him. Creed turns him! Sheldon Creed turns John Hunter right in front of the pack in turn 20. Justin Allgaier is going to pull away. Creed had to slow down a ton to miss it, and Kligerman's up to 2nd after a result of the incident between the 2 and the 20. Creed side by side with Kligerman for 2nd, trying to get back around him in turns 1 and 2, and he does actually clear him in turn 3. Sheldon Creed is up to 2nd again. Austin Hill now trying to go for 3rd underneath Parker Kligerman. Sheldon Creed dumps John Hunter Nemechek in the same corner where Nemechek took out Creed on the final lap of stage 2. Seemed blatant to me, but I had a feeling that was going to happen, and I called it. I think a lot of us probably saw that happening, but right in the same corner, too. Sam Mayer just missed the tire wall trying to get around the 20 car as he kind of went through the grass to miss it. As a result, Mayer fell from 4th to 7th. And now Justin Allgaier is out to a 2.9 second lead on Sheldon Creed. And we'll see if Creed's going to have the tires to try to catch up to the 7 over this long green flag run. It's going to be tough. Mayer going to get back by Cole Custer for position. Jordan Taylor moves up to 4th as well as he just passed Austin Hill on track, or rather I should say Austin Hill still ahead of Taylor, so Taylor at 5th. Custer back up to 6th place. Sam Mayer trying to get back after the 0-0 as they're side by side into turn 1. A little bit of contact. Crossover move by Mayer on Custer, and it does look as if Cole Custer is going to be able to hold on for that position again. 3-second advantage for Allgaier over Creed. I don't know if Creed's got anything for Justin after falling 3 seconds back. I think he was more worried about getting after the 20 rather than trying to get to the 7. Creed got his justice on John Hunter Nemechek, but I will say, unfortunately, because of getting into the 20 the way he did, he is now 3 seconds off the race lead, where if he could have potentially passed him cleanly, if he had an opportunity to, he'd probably be right there. But I don't think that's going to be the case this time. Side-by-side commercial break right now in FS1. We will go through a full field running order rundown real quick here as we're down to 17 laps to go in the race. Justin Allgaier is your race leader by 2.9 seconds over Sheldon Creed. Creed was about a 10th quicker that last lap. Parker Kligerman is in 3rd, Austin Hill in 4th, Jordan Taylor is 5th, Cole Custer 6th, Sam Mayer 7th, Myatt Snyder in 8th, Connor Mosack 9th, and Riley Hurst is 10th. Alex LeBay is in 11th, Brett Moffitt in 12th, Jeb Burton 13th, 14th is Anthony Alfredo, and 15th is Braden Jones. Josh Berry is 16th, 17th is John Hunter Nemechek, Chandler Smith in 18th, Parker Retzlaff 19th, and Jeremy Clements is 20th, Blaine Perkins 21st, Josh Williams 22nd, 23rd is Ryan Sieg, 24th is Jeffrey Earnhardt, Leland Honeyman 25th, Patrick Emmerling 26th, 27th is Joe Graff Jr., Garrett Smithley 28th, 29th is Kaz Gralla, and Sammy Smith is actually still lapped down at 38th. I did guess he didn't get the free pass at the end of stage 2, so I apologize for that. The 4 car got the free pass at the end of stage 2, which was Garrett Smithley. Sammy Smith struggling today. 30th place. Dylan Lupton is 31st. Preston Pardis is 32nd. Kyle Sieg is 33rd. Parker Chase 34th. Mason Maggio 35th. Daniel Hemrick 36th. 37th is Stephen Parsons. And Brendan Poole rounds out the 38-car field in the race today. Sheldon Creed another 3/10 quicker than Justin Allgaier that last lap of the line. Creed tried to go for his first career Xfinity Series win today. Got his retribution on John Hunter Nemechek for the end of Stage 2, and now he's trying to go for the race win. We'll see if he can catch the 7 here into these final 15 laps, as he was a little bit quicker the last 2 laps. In fact, that last lap by Creed of a 75.975 was his fastest lap of the race. It was the fastest lap anybody has put down today. So if Sheldon can keep a pace up on these tires with how hard he has been pushing them in the early going of this final stage, he's going to have a shot to win. And it looks like you guys in the chat or in the poll have voted so far for Sheldon Creed to win the race. In the 22 votes casted, 41% say Sheldon Creed will win. Make that 39% say Sheldon Creed's going to win. Other at 35%. Nemechek is now 17th following a spin. He has 8% of the votes. Cole Custer at 17th after winning Stage 2. And we will see here. Custer's falling back to 5th. He did just pass Jordan Taylor on the track for that 5th place position that last lap. It looks like Sam Mader's going after Taylor down into turn 1 as well as they battle for 6th place. And Parker Kligerman trying to keep some sort of pace right now with Sheldon Creed. Don't count him out of it. Cole Custer also, actually Custer ran the quickest lap of anybody in the top 5 that last lap, but he still has to get by Austin Hill, and he's still 5 seconds off the race lead. Although Parker Kligerman and Sheldon Creed were both about a 10th quicker than Justin Allgaier that last time by.
All kinds of action.
Nemechek had fallen outside.
Teammates.
Look at this.
Wrecking each other.
So that'll be an interesting competition meeting, right?
Yeah, we got to go back and see what happened in turn 1, because
Was that connected? Or were they trying to blend back on the racetrack after the chicane?
Let's see what happened here going down into turn 1. Sammy Smith just got in there really deep and got into John Hunter, and then
the retaliation.
Of course, his frustration is
right back together
at 10 right now, right, because of what happened with Creed, and then But I just that's not the right way to handle that. I don't think with your teammate. None of that was on purpose.
Here's the other thing I would say for Nemechek. You're running for a championship.
That might be the caution we need right here.
And lead the points by 10. He's back in 20th. Austin Hill, the guy that's chasing you up there in 4th. You got to be careful if you're Nemechek.
The crazy thing to me, Ty Gibbs was leading this race last year. Car that was a lap down under caution in turn 1. The same exact incident happens. John Hunter Nemechek, car a lap down, gets in there too deep. And now they got to pit together.
Yeah, both going to have to pit with 14 laps to go. Now, the rule is you can pit under green, but if you change 4 tires, you have to be on pit road at least 60 seconds, so you don't gain any kind of an advantage in that regard. And if you have just 1 tire going down, you can change the tire that you have an issue with, and you can return to the racetrack, and you're not held to that 60-second clock.
Before this incident, you had asked about Justin Allgaier's lead and if he's riding some. Used to, Justin Allgaier that I knew was always at 110%. There was no riding. But last week at Charlotte, he showed a ton of maturity and composure to be able to ride and save fuel, let John Hunter go, then pass him back and take off. So I really think right now that he's just trying to manage that gap. If I can keep a 2-second lead or more, I'm going to save my brakes, lift a little early coast, take care of it.
Yeah, as you see Parker Kligerman getting to the inside of Sheldon Creed, we've talked about the setup in that 48 car all day long and how much it carries the front end. And that typically is not good. You see even right there, look at how much it picks up that inside tire. That's normally not good on the short run when there's a lot of grip on the track. However, as you get into a longer run like we're seeing right here, that will pay dividends because it just creates more grip when other guys are starting to lose it. Now, they've lost a little bit of ground by racing each other right now to Justin Allgaier, but it does appear that the 48 on this particular run is the best car on the longer run.
And where that soft rear end kind of
look at that. That's just incredible.
I almost think he's got a shock rope when you see that, but where it hurts you is when you have transitions back and forth, right? You saw Sheldon Creed close the gap. When you have a long straightaway where you get forward drive, it definitely helps you get the exit.
Jamie?
I'm not going to say that Parker Kligerman was being conservative in those first 2 stages, but after they made that second pit stop, his crew chief, Patrick Donahue, came over the radio and he said, "You have lots of rear tire left. Go ahead and put that in your notes. You were it during these last few laps, and that's exactly what we see Parker doing.
Well, and when you see the front end being carried like that, the reason that's better for forward drive is it puts all the weight on that outside rear tire, which continues to give you the drive you want off. Then the downside is the car typically doesn't turn as well.
Riley Herbst had made a pit stop. He returns to the racetrack. Hood was up on this car.
You can see some water on there, probably overheating a bit.
Well, another finish, most likely outside the top 10 for him, barring some kind of a miraculous recovery in the last 12 laps. And this team, after that hot start to begin 2023, just can't get it going in the right direction, can't catch a break.
You see right there, John Hunter Nemechek is right in front of this group of cars. A lot of decisions to be made for John Hunter when they go by, and it'd be interesting to see if there's any retaliation back on Sheldon Creed, knowing that he's a lap down now.
I know he's angry, and then you added the Sammy Smith incident, but I've got to think at this point it's 1-1. Just call it good for the day, and you're done.
Who there? Because they feel like they each got one, and now hopefully you let it go.
But John Hunter feels like, oh, he got me worse because I'm a lap down and torn up now.
Sam Mayer lost in that exchange as well, but he's continuing to fight by Jordan Taylor. The one car is now 6. Top 5, Allgaier, Kligerman, Creed, Austin Hill, Cole, Custer. We're going side by side with a
Side-by-side commercial break with 11 laps to go. John Hunter Nemechek is right in front of Sheldon Creed after going a lap down following pit stops. We'll see what happens here between the 20 and the 2. As they ride around. It's a 4-second lead for Justin Allgaier over Parker Kligerman, who is already past the 20 of Nemechek. Sheldon Creed getting held up right now. He's got Austin Hill and Cole Custer right behind him as those 3 through 5th place position drivers continue to battle. Nemechek underneath the 2 of Sheldon Creed. Creed going wide into the corner, trying to give the 20 room. The 20 runs into the side of him there. And didn't really do much as he'll get split 3 wide and now get put behind by the 21 and the 00. So Creed gets around him. It wasn't a clean pass, but he did get by the 20 car of John Hunter Nemechek. And now Nemechek is going to let those guys go ahead of him. And we will see if Parker Kligerman has anything for Justin Allgaier. His first lap after moving into second, he was about 0.2 of a second slower than Allgaier. That last lap at the line, he was about 0.1 of a second slower than the 7. So the 7 car seems to be the fastest on the racetrack as of right now. Just ran a 76.603. He just ran his fastest lap of the race about 4 laps ago. So Justin Allgaier was the quickest car on track a couple laps ago. That last lap, the quickest car on track was Allgaier again. So yeah, it's going to be tough for anybody to beat the 7 without a late race caution, as he is the quickest on track. And what momentum the 17 for Junior Motorsports is now starting to catch, because they won on Monday night at Charlotte, and now they're looking to win here on a Saturday afternoon in Portland, coast to coast. You got a 1.5 mile oval, a road course, and great job by that 17 trying to capitalize. There was a cool stat that they stated in the post-race before we went live for this one today, and that cool stat was that in the NASCAR Xfinity Series field, the last 23 races have been won by 6 different drivers in the NASCAR Xfinity Series on road courses. None of those 6 drivers started this race today, so we were going to get a winner from somebody that didn't win in the last 23 road races in the Xfinity Series, and Parker Kligerman and Justin Allgaier seem to have risen to the top and trying to get their win for this race today. And for right now, it just doesn't look like Kligerman's got anything for Allgaier. Now, he has pulled about 3 seconds ahead of Sheldon Creed, so the tight battle on track in the top 10 right now is that battle for third between Creed, Hill, and Custer, as they are still all within about a second of each other, maybe 0.8 of a second, but that's about it. Allgaier's driving away. He's got about 8.5 laps left into getting back-to-back wins on the Xfinity Series season, and he's looking to catch some fire just like Noah Gragson did in the late summer months of last season, where he ended up rattling off a bunch of wins, made his way to the Championship 4, and Allgaier did make the Championship 4 as well, but obviously trying to go for the title this year. He has not won an Xfinity title in his long Xfinity Series career, all at Junior Motorsports, at least in his competitive Xfinity Series career. Riley Herbst has a problem. He is slowing up and the caution flag is out. It looks like the 98 car is blowing a motor. A late caution with 8 laps to go in this race. Riley Herbst has stalled. His car is smoking. Can't tell what area of the racetrack he is on right now, but he is getting out of that race car, and that is the second time we've seen an engine detonate in today's race, or at least a car catch smoke or fire of some sort in today's race. So Herbst is now getting out of the car. Now, they were under the hood of that race car just a few laps ago on pit road. He came back out. There's some water spewing. It looked like he was overheating, and looked like they just ran it till she blew. And unfortunately, Riley Herbst having a tough finish. He was in the top 10 there, right around like 8th to 10th most of this race, until he ended up having to make that unscheduled stop a handful of laps ago. But unfortunately, bringing that car back onto the track, maybe not the wisest decision in hindsight, as it's going to cause a late race caution, which is going to set up a restart with about 5 or so laps left. I would imagine that everybody's going to end up staying out of the pits, considering that we don't have any live pit stops today. So if you pit, you're going to end up falling to the back of whoever decides to not pit. So it's going to be a race on these older tires here for the finish and for the race win at Portland. Allgaier, who had a 4.1 second lead at the time of the caution over Kligerman, now that lead is gone, and that's going to bring everybody back into it. It's going to bring Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill, the RCR boys, back into the race as well. Cole Custer, who had a strong car early, won stage 2. He's back in contention to try to get the win also. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't already. We are currently at 78 likes on the stream. And we're trying to get to 100 likes on the stream for the second straight race today. The Truck Series race, we had 103 likes earlier. Not as many views total for this Xfinity race, at least so far, with 7 laps to go, but slightly shorter race length, slightly shorter race as well, with less cautions over the elapsed time from the drop of the green flag to where we're at now. But we're setting up for a crazy finish, I'm sure, just as we had in the truck race earlier today, so hopefully you guys stay tuned to the end. John Hunter Nemechek will get the free pass with this caution flag coming out, so this will get 27 cars back on the lead lap. Had a little run-in with his teammate Sammy Smith during that last green flag run after getting turned by Sheldon Creed. It looked like Smith ended up coming into the side of the 20 after overdriving turn 1. I think it was when Sammy was leaving pit road potentially, and he ended up spinning out Nemechek when Nemechek was in 17th. And doored his teammate back just a couple corners later when he got back to him. Creed has led the most laps today. He led 48 laps. Before, of course, that spin all the way back at the end of stage 2. But we'll see if he can get back into this one. Up to 79 likes. Yep, we're 21 away. Let's see if we can get to 100 once again. Not let's see. Let's get to 100. Easy Network, thanks for tuning in. Left out Herbst to help Custer get it? No, I don't think so. Because these engines are expensive, even though it was starting to go already from what it seemed like with the overheating issues that they ended up having. I don't think so. I think that's too much of a conspiracy theory stretch. '98 News. I think they were just trying to keep him on the racetrack because there were quite a few drivers that were a lap down, where if he could have made it the last 7-8 laps of the race, then he could have had a better finish, because he is on the bubble coming into the race today for playoffs. And Daniel Hemrick already DNF'd in today's race, so he could have made up points over him, who was just behind him in points. And now, unfortunately, it looks like they're going to finish around each other, although Hemrick didn't get any stage points today, and Riley Herbst did, so there at least is that for the '98 team. They're currently towing Herbst's car back to pit road, and we should get to racing here shortly following a late race caution with Riley Herbst's car blowing an engine and stalling out with about 8 laps to go. And this is going to set up a restart with 27 cars on the lead lap. And your top 5 coming to this ensuing restart will be Justin Allgaier leading, Parker Kligerman second, Sheldon Creed third, Austin Hill fourth, and Cole Custer will be fifth. And they do have the choose rule on road courses this year, so there is that, which we haven't really seen it come into major effect. The inside lane on the front row has been the preferred lane all day today. Want to be on the bottom going into turn 1. You don't want to be the one getting used up. But we have seen cars spin in turn 1 on restarts, although the last 2 restarts we haven't seen anybody get spun in turn 1, so hopefully that'll be the case here. But we did see Josh Berry and Chandler Smith get spun while running in the top 10 at one point back in the first stage, and then I think the restart to start stage 2 was when Berry got spun. That was in an instance where they were 3 wide, more towards turn 2 than turn 1, and then Hill got into the 8, which turned him around. Josh Berry has made a good recovery, though. He is back up inside the top 10 in the 10th place position and looking to get a couple more spots back in the restart. Quick shout out to a couple of drivers that have been having some good days today that are looking for solid finishes. Connor Mosak is at 8th. He's been right around pretty much 8th to 12th the whole race. And Alex LeBay, currently in 9th, has been also right around those positions in the race today. LeBay, a very accomplished road racer in NASCAR, and looking for a solid run with a smaller organization there, that Mario Gosling-owned race team in the 91. So we've seen Chastain run that 91 car in the Xfinity Series actually at times this season. But Alex LeBay having a solid run on a road course, I think he's someone to look out for as we have more summer road course races. I mean, you got to figure the Xfinity Series has next week they go to Sonoma. They go to Road America in the middle of July. They go to the Chicago Street Course on 4th of July weekend as well. And, of course, they have Watkins Glen and Indy at the end of the summer. So a lot of road course races on the Xfinity schedule. I think they have 1 or 2 more than the Cup Series. Cup Series has 6 road courses. I think the Xfinity Series has 8. So, and a lot of them in the middle portion of the season. They only have 1 in the playoffs, which is the Roval, just like the Cup Series. Takes tire strategy out of it, makes fastest car wins. Yeah. Yeah, no pit strategy today. At least for this race. There kind of was in the truck race to a certain extent, 2 tires versus 4, because there wasn't a lot of tire fall off, but yeah, this one, on the other hand, not so much. Lauren Laser 04, welcome to the stream. I didn't shout you out from earlier. God Rides a Harley, thanks for tuning in as well. Been watching all day. Thought I should say, hey, well, thanks for tuning in to both streams this afternoon. They will be going green this time by, as predicted, Justin Allgaier has selected the inside lane for the restart. Parker Kligerman on the outside of row 1. Sheldon Creed on the inside of row 2 with Austin Hill to his outside. Then Cole Custer on the inside of row 3. To the outside of him will be Sam Mayer, who has had a decent amount of speed in this final stage. So we'll see what Mayer can do back in the 6th spot. Myatt Snyder inside of row 4 has been in the top 7 pretty much all day. Pretty much locked into 7th the whole race. So we'll see where he can go on what could be the final restart. 5 laps to go to decide the winner of this Xfinity race in Portland, the second ever at the racetrack for the Xfinity Series. We're back to racing. Green flag is in the air. Standing restart for Allgaier. He's going to get side drafted by Kligerman down into the first turn. Kligerman gets ahead of steam now, getting through the next couple of gears. Door to door, the RCR teammates back behind him. Kligerman locks the tires up. He does keep it on the course, but he's going to lose a couple positions as the 2 of Sheldon Creed is going to move into 2nd, and Cole Custer is potentially going to get to 3rd, and he does. He's clear into turn 3. Top 2 cars have really pulled away on this restart. Kligerman bounces into the 00 as he tries a crossover move for 3rd. Parker's got to be careful here not to ruffle too many feathers. He needs to be able to make it to the end of this race with a solid finish, and he's going to make up quite a few points on Hemrick and Herbst to have DNF'd. Kligerman standing up on 3 wheels. I haven't really seen anybody else do that today. The way his car's set up, it is. Crazy how it's doing that. Like I said, I haven't seen anybody else do that. It's not like he's hopping up over a curb that's causing the left front tire to come up off the ground. Usually the right front's staying planted even in the left-handed corners, but the sharper, it'd be the sharper right-handed turns that's causing the left front to go up off the ground. sharper left-handed corners, causing the left front to come up off the ground. But yeah, on the right-handed turns, though, it's planted. Oh, a couple cars get together. There's like 4 cars around in the grass in turn 12. Middle of the pack. Everybody's still rolling. Anthony Alfredo was one that ended up sideways. Jeb Burton, Chandler Smith, door-to-door for position. Chandler Smith hangs on that right rear corner panel. Jeb Burton, he sends him. What a save by Jeb Burton. And they'll still save side by side. And I think Jeb actually held on to the spot. Chandler's going to run into him again, it looks like. And that was after Jeb Burton threw a bad block on Chandler Smith. And he's going to send him again. The second straight corner. And this time, Jeb Burton will slide off into the grass. Chandler Smith has dumped Jeb Burton after a block down the front stretch that Chandler seemed to be upset about. But he tried to wreck him the first time, and he saved it. And then the second time, he did wreck him. So I feel like once you get your chance to try to wreck the guy once, all right, so be it. He saved it. But, yeah, he tried to wreck him again, and he got him. Tough break there for Jeb Burton. He was running top 10 most of the day, too. Chandler Smith up to 12th place. Did lose a couple positions in the process of that. Sheldon Creed, meanwhile, at the front of the field, is trying to run down Justin Allgaier for the race win as we approach 3 laps to go at Portland. So 3 laps left. Sheldon Creed, that last time at the line, was a little bit slower than Allgaier. He's 0.8 of a second off the lead. Allgaier was, of course, pulling away from everybody else prior to that last caution coming out, but this is giving Creed another chance, who was in third initially on the restart, got the second, and now he's trying to go after the race win. Now, there is debris on the racetrack, and that will cause a caution as the leaders are about to make their way over to that area of the track where we have seen the debris, and that was probably from the 4-car accident that we had in turn 20, I would have to imagine, just a couple of laps ago. So caution is out once again, our 5th yellow of the race at Portland. This will set up an overtime restart, and it will be our 2nd overtime finish of the day. The truck race had 1 overtime earlier at Gateway, and now here in the Xfinity race at Portland, we are not done quite yet. We'll go past the scheduled distance in this one, following our 5th caution. It is now no longer the Pacific Office Automation 147. Now it's going to be the Pacific Office Automation, let's go like 163 or something like that. Just find another odd number to try to round it off at. It looked like a rear bumper cover, I think. But then there was another piece of sheet metal that was laying across the racetrack as well, almost parallel to where that bumper cover was laying. Philip Moore, thanks for tuning into the stream. A lot of fireworks may be coming post-race. I would probably say so too. We might have more than one fight. Stay tuned for our post-race show. Delgado Lucas, thanks for tuning in as well. We will stay live with post-race coverage. Get any interviews from any drivers following the finish of this race. We'll go through the full field finishing order. Our Xfinity Series as well as Truck Series post-race show is not quite as long as the Cup side, but for any late race drama, we will stay tuned, obviously, for at least a couple of minutes following the checkered flag of today's race. And we still have at least one more restart to go. Hopefully this will be the last one. And again, an overtime finish. 3rd, 2nd, and 1st in the last 3 races for Justin Allgaier. He's leading in this final stage. Has led pretty much the entire final stage so far. And he is trying to go for yet another win. It'd be his 4th career win on a road course if he is able to get the job done today. Obviously his first at Portland. And now trying to go for his 2nd win of the season. Back-to-back for that 7 team if they can get it done. But Sheldon Creed, who has led the most laps today, got taken out of the lead late stage 2 by John Hunter Nemechek. You know he's going to be hungry to get up there. Creed has never won a race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Neither has Parker Kligerman, who is in 3rd and has been having a solid day in the top 5 all day behind him. Sam Mayer, Cole Custer, Josh Berry is now up to 7th following that restart. So great recovery for Berry after running 5th at the end of stage 1. He got spun off the front bumper of Hill earlier. And now he's going to be right behind Hill on the restart. The donuts on the left side of the 8 car of Barry. We're up to 83 likes on the stream. Our goal is 100. 100. Looks like they're fixing one of the signs as well. It's actually the restart zone sign they're trying to fix, so that actually is an important one. And I don't think they're going to try to fix it. But yeah, 83 likes on the stream, make that 84. Let's try to get to 100 here as we're set up for an overtime finish. Waiting to see if the lights will go off on the pace car this time. I don't think that will be the case, so we'll probably have at least one more lap of caution as the cleanup continues following this most recent yellow. So they will not take the choose rule this time by. We're getting into 19 and 20. I would imagine they'll get the choose rule the following time by, and then we will go green at Portland just over 2 hours after the start of today's Xfinity race as we head to overtime following the 5th caution. Debris lane on the racetrack following the last restart, which took place with 5 laps to go. As of right now, it's looking like we are going to go 2 laps past the scheduled distance. Actually, 1 lap. It's like 1 lap past the scheduled distance. I believe they'll be getting the 1 to go signal this time by, so we'll be going green next time. And again, it'll be Justin Allgaier and Sheldon Creed more than likely on the front row, and you'd have to imagine Allgaier will be on the inside because that has been the preferred lane on the restarts so far today. Kenneth Clark, thanks for tuning in. Why didn't they suspend Denny from Elliott Anything? Because Denny didn't do anything? I hope you're joking. I hope you're joking at least. I can't tell. It's hard to tell on the internet whether people are joking or not.
Radio, you said let's do the same exact thing again. You have the best car, the best driver. Why do you like him behind the wheel?
Justin's always the guy, right? I wouldn't have anybody else in my race car at this point in time. I know he can get it done, and had a really good Branch Chevrolet all day, so no matter what happens, proud of this team and proud of him.
You can hear the emotion in his voice, guys. There's a lot on the line here.
It's been a stressful couple of weeks. Last week, managing fuel to the finish line, and today having to watch his driver hold off a bunch of aggressive drivers in overtime. Jim Pullman hanging on the pit box.
I always wonder, like, the crew chief perspective. It's got to be hard to watch it. Like, when you're a driver and you're in the car, you kind of have control and you know your game plan. But as a crew chief, your work's done. And now it's about being up, being a cheerleader, and just watching your driver do his thing.
And Justin and Jim have done such a good job figuring each other out. They did work together a long time ago in the ARCA series, I believe, when Justin won his ARCA championship. And it's wild to see them come back together, have success already. Keep in mind that Jason Burnett was Justin's crew chief last year and went over to Brandon Jones. So big change for a team that contend for a championship.
You know, we talked about getting more opportunities at these restarts, and to me, that.
Alrighty, so here we go. Allgaier Creed again on the front row for the ensuing restart. Our first attempt at an overtime finish. Once the leader takes the white flag, the next flag will end the race, whether it's the yellow or the checker. Same rules apply for overtime in all 3 Xfinity Truck Cup Series seasons. Pace car pulling out of the way as the field enters turn 12. Overtime restart underway. Justin Allgaier going to get the launch on the inside. Sheldon Creed up high. Parker Kligerman trying to bump draft the 7. We'll see if he'll pull out a line, trying to take it 3 wide to the inside to cross start-finish line. Kligerman's going for it. 3 wide for the lead down into turn 1 is Kligerman. He locks the front tires. He knocks them all out of the way. Oh my goodness. Parker Kligerman knocks the 7 and the 2 out of the way, and Cole Custer has the lead. Kligerman locked the tires up, trying to go 3 wide for the win to the bottom of the racetrack, and it didn't work out for him. And now Allgaier, who is in second, is trying to catch up to Cole Custer. Creed is side by side for third with Sam Mayer, but he's not going to be able to get to him. Mayer is clear for third and now trying to go after P2 on Allgaier. And I'm not even sure where Parker Kligerman fell. He is back to 11th, it looks like, on the scoring Tron. Kligerman now outside the top 10 after trying to go for the win. Still side by side right now for position between Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayers. They've been side by side for a couple laps. A little tire rub on the, looks like the right rear of Josh Berry in the 8 car, door to door, slamming fenders. Sheldon Creed's off in the grass as he's ran wide from Mayer now. Recovers his way back onto the racetrack, but he's going to lose about 4 or 5 positions as they get back to the start-finish line. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Cole Custer is out to about a 6/10 of a second lead over Justin Allgaier at the line, but it's going to be tough for the 7 car to try to catch the 0-0 on this last lap. Drama all over the place throughout today's race. Meanwhile, John Hunter Nemechek is now close behind Sheldon Creed as Nemechek has somehow come from a lap down back in the top 10. He is currently in 10th. Allgaier has ran down Custer. He is within about 3 to 4 car lengths behind him as we're down to a half a lap to go. Custer struggling with the handling of his car. Allgaier much smoother after dominating this final stage. He's only going to have about 3 more turns to try to catch him. They're going to work their way down to the next long straightaway. We've got a left-hander followed by 2 right-handers for Allgaier to try to close the gap. He's about 4 car lengths back as they work their way into the corner. Dive bombing so much later into the corner than Cole Custer. Working his way through the right-hand corner in turn number 11 into 12. One last time. Allgaier works his way off the exit of the corner. He's going to try to get to the inside of Cole Custer, who is not going to be able to hold on. Custer by inches was clear off of turn 12, and Cole Custer's going to win at Portland. First win of the season in the Xfinity Series for Cole Custer. Margin of victory 1/10 of a second over Justin Allgaier. The 43 cars in the tire wall off the exit of turn 12. Well outside the top 20 was Leland Honeyman. He was 27th, I do believe. At the line the lap before. But Cole Custer is a winner in the NASCAR Xfinity Series once again. Unbelievable. This will lock Custer into the Xfinity Series playoff field with this win. He's going through his burnout victory celebration around the racetrack right now. Allgaier got to within a car length, charged hard those last 3 corners, but was just a little bit too late. 1 more lap, and he definitely would have had a shot at him, but Custer barely was able to hold on. And he slipped up quite a bit in the center of turn 12, too, but Allgaier just didn't have enough of a chance. Lost the race on that overtime restart when Parker Kligerman tried to go 3 wide for the lead in turn 1 and doored both the 7 and the 2 out of the way. Cole Custer is going to get the win. And he was the only Ford to finish in the top 10, but he gets the job done at the end of the day. Your finishing order behind Custer, again, Justin Allgaier ends up 2nd, Sam Mayer 3rd, and Josh Berry 4th, so 3 JRM cars 2nd through 4th there. 5th place was Austin Hill, Myatt Snyder 6th, Sheldon Creed 7th, Connor Mosack 8th, Chandler Smith 9th, and John Hunter Nemechek somehow comes back to finish 10th. Alex Abay ends up 11th, 12th was Brett Moffitt, Brandon Jones 13th, Parker Kligerman 14th, and Blaine Perkins 15th. Josh Williams ends up 16th, Parker Retzlaff 17th, Ryan Sieg 18th, Jeffrey Earnhardt 19th, and Patrick Emmerling 20th. Anthony Alfredo 21st, 22nd was Jeremy Clements, 23rd was Joe Graff Jr., Garrett Smithley 24th, and Jeb Burton 25th. 26th was Kaz Grala, 27th was Jordan Taylor, 28th was Leland Honeyman, Dylan Lupton 29th, and Sammy Smith with a rough day ends up 2 laps down in 30th. 31st was Preston Pardis, 32nd was Riley Herbst, 33rd, Daniel Hemrick. Kyle Sieg ends up 34th, and Parker Chase 35th. 36th was Mason Maggio. Stephen Parsons 37th, and 38th was Brennan Poole. Cole Custer with a very long burnout there on the front stretch. Multiple burnouts around the racetrack. Nemechek looked like he was maybe walking over to Creed's race car, whatever the case was there. They both somehow ended up with top 10 days despite all the carnage they were involved in. Creed got ran off the track there late as well on that last lap by Sam Mayer while they were battling for third. But Custer is a winner. And here he is with his post-race interview.
That's such a good moment to share with your guys. Everybody worked so hard. Just the ultimate payoff right there.
Thank you, JT. Good job, brother.
Jonathan Toney there, the crew chief. These two have been friends for a long time. Great to see JT celebrating with Cole. Jamie?
And as Cole Custer still tries to get his helmet off, his crew guys walk away with a lot of emotion on their faces after watching this win. The crowd still on their feet after those burnouts. You had to start at the back after changing that tire at the start of this race. Able to drive through the field. You only led 4 laps, but what did you see that gave you the confidence to go for it on that restart?
Just try not to make mistakes. I did the same exact thing. I saw him drive in there so deep, and I did the same thing like 2 restarts ago, and man, I'm just so happy. I've never won a road course race before. I've been so close so many times, and it's just awesome to win this. I can't thank Haas Automation, everybody at Stuart Haas at the Xfinity program and the Cup program. It's just a great day. JT, it's his first win. It's a crew chief. It's awesome to get this trophy, get that out of the way. So I'm pumped for the rest of the year. We got fast cars. We're starting to put it all together.
And we've got 2 more road courses in a row. Congratulations.
That's the first time a series regular has won in a Ford since Austin Cindric did it on the road course at Indianapolis 2021. How about that?
Good job, man.
Yeah, the tires are all
And it's hard to do what Cole Custer did. Watching those replays back, to not take the bait and drive in with the top 3 as they overdrove turn 1. Really good job by Cole Custer there.
First career win for the crew chief, Jonathan Toney, as well. Congratulations to him. All right, we apologize for the language. Jeb Burton is down there. Evidently was having a conversation with Chandler Smith. Chris Rice from college.
Well, we got our first fight on pit road following the race. We were expecting some fireworks post-race, as I saw you guys mentioning in the chat. It looks like Jeb Burton trying to get into it. It looked like with Chandler Smith after Chandler had tried to dump Jeb Burton the first time, then ended up actually dumping him the second time, and that was following a close and pretty much late block from what it looked like on the front stretch that nearly squeezed Chandler into the front stretch wall. You understand why Chandler Smith was upset and maybe trying to take him out in turn 1, but Jeb actually saved it, and I say at that point you just kind of race on, and it looked like he was committed to taking him out again in the next corner and did. So unfortunately, Jeb Burton ended up with a 25th place finish despite running top 10 most of the day, and Chandler Smith recovered to finish 9th. Here's Sheldon Creed
You guys talked after
with his post-race interview.
Yeah, first of all, we had a great wheel in, RCR Chevy Camaro today. There's 3 corners that I feel like maybe was the difference between our race. I feel like I could have went and led every lap. If I was a little better in 6, 7, and 12, I just struggled there, and they could really make ground there. And he spun me coming to the stage in there, and I don't know. Obviously going for a stage win, aggressive, and he came up and apologized, and I got even on the racetrack, so I was fine. So, I just racing hard there, and then at the end, I wanted to race the 7 straight up for it, and I wasn't gonna wreck him, and that's not how I want to get my first win. I want to earn it, and the 48 just ruined our chances of that. Didn't give us a chance to race for it there, and then I was running for 3rd there, and the 1 runs me off the racetrack coming to the white. So great day overall. Happy with the speed. Happy to get my first pole. Just need the last few laps to go my way one of these days.
Thanks, Sheldon.
I love the way that he and John Hunter handled that. I think
So it does sound like Nemechek and Creed in cahoots. Nemechek gave him a little fist bump there at the end, probably realizing that he was in the wrong for that incident at the end of stage 2. Understand Sheldon dumped him intentionally, and so there we go. So thanks for everybody tuning in here this afternoon. I think the only other race stats that I haven't mentioned yet, 72.080 miles per hour was the average race speed. 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 43 seconds was the total time from the drop of the green flag to the checkered flag today. Four lead changes total in today's race. 4 different leaders in today's race. 8 lead changes amongst them. And then we ended up having the 5 cautions in this race as well, and an overtime finish, of course, as this race went 2 laps past the scheduled distance. So congrats, Cole Custer, getting his first Xfinity Series win of the 2023 NASCAR Xfinity Series season. And Ford gets it done at the end of the race here today. Justin Allgaier put up a fight, finished second. Sheldon Creed led the most laps today, had a great run as well. Creed won stage 1. Cole Custer won stage 2 and won the race with 6 playoff points for Custer total in this one. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. Again, be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Looks like we ended up with 90 likes on the stream today. But we ended up hitting our goal for the truck race. Just shy of that for the Xfinity race. We'll see if we can get there for tomorrow's Cup race. Our live commentary for the Cup Series will begin tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you then. The race is on Fox Sports 1 as well. Again, thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your Saturday night.